just off of that right now at a high 128, but she hasn't hit those hills on the second half yet. The first half of this race tends to be significantly faster for the wheelchair division than the second half.
Coming through Wellesley, all 3 races right there. And the women's race to start in about 2 minutes. So then we'll have all kinds of stuff. As if we don't have enough to talk about, we'll have all kinds of things to talk there. Carrie?
Well, John, just looking back at that first mile at 4:37, that's 2:01 pace, as Meb knows, and he's going to chime in here. But listen, we have a number of athletes in there at 2:01 pace, and that to me is a little nerve-wracking. And Meb, I've watched you race this time and time again in other marathons. Is that too fast for the majority of this group? Those downhills, they come talking to you later on in this race.
The only person on this field that could run that time is Kipchoge. But I don't even know if they realize that they're going that fast. They're looking at 4:37, but do they know that's 2:01 pace? And they're not being patient. We're going to see who is able to hold the pace back, but drafting out the back, and then see what happens as the race unfolds.
Gothitam Ghebreselassie, the world champion, as we get ready for the women's start. Certainly among the many favorites. You see Sarah Hall right there. Lona Salpeter in the bright pink shoes. She will be a contender.
And that's Edna Kiplagat running her 6th Boston Marathon. She's a 2-time winner here. 43 years old. I mean, the list goes on and on, but we have to keep our eye on her.
She is a running Masters record waiting to happen, and she set that Masters record here last year. I love that there's 90 clocks around this place, but you guys all still start your own watch.
But I love that Des is as chill as she always is.
Des Linden,
You know that there's a fire burning inside of her, but she's just hanging out, starting her watch. And, Des, speaking of her, she's one of those returning champions, and she said she feels this energy this year. She knows that we are celebrating 10 years. We are also honoring those 10 years, and she wants to have a really epic day today.
Yeah, she says she's feeling the Boston magic. They have really large elite fields here in this race. They really do. There's 60 runners deep now. Not all of them obviously can win, but that's still a very large elite field.
And look at how different this pack looks right now as you see Dakota Lindworm and Laura Thweet up front. It's different than the men's race. The men's race got off, and you could just see the pressure and the excitement to get out there. And it's almost a little bit more of a calming effect right now in the women's race.
The 10 years of remembrance and reflection is huge.
So I tell you the ones to watch, but there's so many right there, it's hard to pick them out. So if we have a graphic, we could put that up, see, and then we could tell you about the ones to watch. It'll be a lot easier than sorting through that. But here's the person in your purple. There you go. Gothitam Ghebreselassie, world champ. That's pretty darn good. Lona Salpeter, who has had a lot of high finishes but doesn't have their world marathon major yet. And then Jocelyn Chepkosky, who a lot of people thought was going to win last year, did not.
Yeah, just kind of suffered the final miles there, but has that 7th place on there and does not want to be 7th again. She wants to be closer to that podium, and if not, cracking the tape.
Won the London Marathon. She's won the New York City Marathon, so certainly the Kenyan great has some bona fides. And then Edna Kiplagat, who we touched on, and Ababel Yeshina, who was part of the great finish last year where they switched, where they traded the lead 7 times in the last mile and a quarter.
Yeah, she and Paris Jepchirchir, who is not here, the defending champion, is not back this year, but Ababel was 2nd, and her post after she finished 2nd was, that left a sour taste, so she didn't like it either. Sarah Hall, obviously. Happy birthday, Sarah Hall, turned 40 yesterday, 4th fastest American ever, over 26.2.
Helen Obiri, who, if I was going to, put a quid or two down somewhere at the old betting house, she might get my money. And 2 great Americans as well, Alafine Tulimek, who's won our Olympic trials back in 2020, and Des Linden is a legend around here.
She sure is, and she should be. I mean, the way that she's run on this course, second in 2011 and then winning in 2018. Alafine, though, says she's in the best shape of her life. And Hellen Obiri, if she gets this marathon thing, she is going to have that greatest of all time runner as Kipchoge does in the men's race.
She comes with some unbelievable track bona fides in her resume. 10,000 meter, the last World Championships at Eugene, her last really important track race. She was second, won the silver medal in the 10,000 as she came through. So they're a little less anxious to sort this thing out. Do you think every time Des, the defending champ from 2018, when she won that, do you think every time she goes out now and goes like, the weather's great? After winning in 2018, which was just the worst of all time conditions, she's got to be like, wow, super day to go running.
I actually think she does. You know, when you read her new book, she talks about that. She grew up in California. She went to college in Arizona. She moved to Michigan, and everyone was like, wait, how are you going to do in Michigan? And she loves the conditions when they're bad. She loves a hard race. That's why she chose to race over 26.2. She is gritty. She is tough, much like all of the women that we are looking at on the screen right now.
And one of them just tucked in there in all green. You can just get her on the left of the scene. Just a quick note there to Nell Rojas, the top American the last 2 years.
Yeah, Nell Rojas really loves to run here. You know, it hasn't even been 2 years. It's been since that COVID race when it was in the fall. So about 19 months about that she's run twice here and finished in the top American spot, 5th and 10th place.
Honestly, there are a lot of people and a lot of names to try to sort out there. I feel a lot easier if I could just go, hey, Ed and hey, Maria. Let me just go down to 2 people and let them handle their business.
Oh, you mean you want us to deal with the names?
No problem. No problem.
Thanks a lot, John.
No. The names are fine. Just too many of them right now.
There are too many. We're going to deal with one. The name is Spencer. Spencer, the marathon dog. Spencer became the marathon dog, a familiar sight for runners along the marathon route. And as the elite men reach Ashland, this is where this is obviously tape, but this is where Spencer was all the time. And holding that, it almost looks like he was smiling all the time.
We loved Spencer. Earlier this year, he sadly lost his battle with cancer. And the reason why we're showing you Spencer really became an icon for holding that Boston Strong flag at the usual spot, right near Ashland State Park, regardless of the weather. For 9 years, Spencer was diagnosed with cancer last year, and it was clear that he was not going to make it to see this year's race. So there was a really special ceremony in January. Spencer received a special medal from the BAA. A portrait was unveiled at the Fairmont Copley Plaza in downtown Boston. And sadly, Spencer passed away in February at the age of 13.
And as you can see, the field is entering Ashland now, and you can hear the crowd is cheering him on. John, I won't even try to mention the names. I'll just let you do it. I'll say John has got the car. How about that? Does that work, John?
Listen, if my mom had named me Ababel or Gatti Tom, I'd be a heck of a lot better runner than just John.
Right.
So they go through the drink station. Meb, they went through the first 5K in 14:17. That is spicy, my friend.
That is fast. That's Boston, downhill. You have the world record holder here, front runners, and just amazing to be able to go through that. I think we're going to see a great race, but patience is a virtue.
And the guy on the left there in the blue, Connor Mance, USA, as I said, twice the NCAA champion, coached by Ed Eyestone, a wonderful U.S. marathoner as well. And he and I had a long talk because in the collegiate ranks, where he was very, very dominant cross country, they talk about how the Mance zone, that he can take kind of more pain for longer than a lot of guys. And he said, but now I look at the starting line and think, all these guys are fit like I am, and they can all take pain like I can. And he's getting used to this new peer group.
Yeah, he's definitely in this new peer group. You know, we've seen him at the NCAA level for many years, and he's crushed there. And he loves to run on hard courses, and he loves to run on the track. This is going to bode well for him on a course like Boston. When you have seen him run so well on the cross-country courses that we've seen him run, he's strong. He can handle that, but can he handle 26.2 on this course? And I think that's the big question. He's super excited. We're super excited for him, but it's still early on.
In that pack, you had Mance and Kipchoge and Mark Career. There's several careers. Mark Career, Albert Career, and John Career. Benson Kipruto, Evans Chibet, Adadulim Belay. There's Junk. So all the careers are there. That's nice to make everything super confusing for everybody as they go through. Gabrielle Gay. and C.J. Albertson, who a couple years ago decided, I'm going to lead the Boston Marathon as long as I can. And he was out there for what, 18 miles, Med?
Yes, he was leading in 2021 for 18 miles, and you know, he did great. He took out the pace, and I talked to him this week, and he just said, hey, the pace was a little slow for me. I'm going to take the lead, and he did a great job and still finished in the top 10, so you got to give him respect for that.
So the men start out cooking at 4:37. The women go through their first mile carry in 6:09. I mean, listen, you can tap telephone poles and get creosote to come down faster.
Well, you could tell that early on that they were really a little bit more relaxed. And that's okay. 6 of the top seven from the World Championships are in this field right now. There's a lot of eyes on each other and not so much on the clock. They want to win. You know, Emma Bates, as we see her right behind Megan Christian right there. Emma Bates is somebody that says she's in American record pace right now. That's sub 2:20 pace, but not on this course. She wants to win.
Mm-hmm. So as you see right now, at kickoff, as it were, about 49, 50 degrees, so that's not terrible. The cloud cover is almost helpful at some point because the sun's not beating down on you. Doesn't look like it's too wet for them out there, so it's not ideal spectator conditions, but it's not bad if I got to go out and run.
I hope all the athletes are able to take their fluid station, which is every 5K. But you can see Connor Mance kind of looking around to the competitors, and that's a great analysis to be able to study.
You can see him not just because of the blue, but he also sort of lists to the left when he runs, right? You know, he's just got that kind of a head tilt that's easily recognizable. So we have the men's professional, and Kipchoge is right there. The women is going, and when we come back, more from that man. David Ortiz, Big Poppy. Nope, I'm not going to say it because I don't have the beat button, but we're coming back with more from the 127th Boston Marathon.
Secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
Tonight at 7:30, celebrate the Boston Marathon with Chronicle, a special post-race party live from Fenway Park. Plus, our modern obsession with the world's oldest marathon, the tradition that continues to captivate. Chronicle tonight.
Get ready. Finding Adventure is back with a brand new season.
Let's go.
I'm going to new cities and meeting new people. Won't that be fun? Who want just a little or a lot of adventure in their lives.
Everything needs to be an adventure at this point.
Find out what it's like when you get up, get out, and go find adventure.
You are one of the most inspiring people I've ever met.
Finding Adventure, only on Very Local.
It's kind of cool to think that there are people who see what you're doing and think, oh, well, maybe whatever I thought was outside the box, maybe there is a place for that.
And just get out there and do it.
These are the incredible stories of our Maker Nation.
Walk, run, ride with WCVB Channel 5.
Get ready for PanCan Purple Stride Boston on April 29th. Come on out and help create that sea of purple to honor those we lost, celebrate survivors, and raise funds for essential research to put an end to pancreatic cancer.
Go to WCVB.com. Click Community. Boston's community leader, WCVB Channel 5.
We are back on the 127th Boston Marathon, principally sponsored by John Hancock, and we're going crazy with running and wheeling. We got a 4-box first on the course this morning with a men's wheelchair. There's Marcel Hoop. He's up by nearly 6 minutes. Amanda McGrory, we're going to get to you in a minute, but I'm going to declare that one over. Women's wheelchair, second to go. Susanna Scaroni of the U.S. out there, and she's, despite having to pull over and do some mechanical work, is out in front by more than a minute. The men's elite field, there's the boss right there. If you feel froggy, get after it. But right now, Kipchoge is setting the pace, and everybody else is queuing off what he has to do. And then the women's race is also on the course. And now we get ready for the people, right? The race is up front. The race is up front. I feel like the marathon is in the back. Those are the people that are out here. By the way, these are all really good runners. You don't just get to walk up to the starting line here in Boston.
No, you have to qualify, and you have to run very fast to get here. So, yeah, the people here have put in the work. And, you know, this has been not such an easy winter for many of them. So it's been a lot of time on the treadmills and really kind of focusing in on this race.
It's a beautiful sight.
Saw a guy go by in a 12 Patriots jersey. I don't think that's Tom Brady. You see a number 2, it might be Brian Hoyer, but I don't think so. This is, to borrow from the president, the head of the BAA, Jack Fleming. This is America's original marathon. It is a race that is both revered and renowned, and these people are a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? You can go play golf courses where they hold golf majors, and you go, well, listen, I hit out a Tiger Woods divot. But you don't get to play it on the same day that those guys get to play. You're running the same course on the same day as Eliud Kipchoge. And that's an amazing thing about this sport and about these events, Matt.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, you know, you can't play with Tom Brady, you can't golf with Tiger Woods, or you can't play Michael Jordan, but Kipchoge is one of those guys, and those people, 30,000 people will be on the pavement of Kipchoge, who's paving for, and he's doing a great job.
30,000 people, they got to go ways because these are narrow streets when you get started, right? This is a tight little spot right there. Look at that, it's 2 lanes. You can't pass there. The line, it's a double yellow line. So as they get started there on their journey here from Hopkinton into Boston, we go back to Amanda McGraw. We go back to the women's race, mile 16. So we're getting close to the hills now for Susanna Scaroni. How much is that in your head, the first 16, 17 miles, Amanda, that we know that we're getting to the Newton Hills?
So even with Susanna's stop to fix her wheel, she's doubled her lead on the pack behind her, and that's only going to be good things for her. You start the race out, you know the hills are coming, but you can't race for the hills at the end because you've got athletes like Marcel, Susanna, Manuela, who are going to hit those first hills hard and take them down as fast as they can. So you're waiting for the climbs, you're ready for the climbs, but you can't save for them.
Mm-hmm. Marcel Hoog on the left. He's up, as we said, nearly 6 minutes as he went through 25K. We talk about 26.2 miles, right? It's 42.185K?
195.
195. So it's 42K as we go through. So, Amanda, that looks to me like a guy who's hurting.
He looks like he's hurting, but at 20 miles, he was on pace to go 2 minutes under the current course record. So as long as he can hold on to this, he's got a really, really good chance at breaking his own course record here today.
And to differentiate really between the wheelers and the elite racers we'll see when they come through here, you get to the top of these hills, the downhills are great because you can coast where, Carrie Tulson, if you're running, you go down those hills, man, your quads are searing.
They are screaming. And, you know, if you go too fast, too early, you're going to feel them again after the Newton Hills, and that is a deal breaker.
There's the men's professional race. Meb, how much is too much respect that I can pay to Eliud Kipchoge in this race? if you're running with him, can you be too deferential?
You know, he can't be too differential, but at the same time, this is where he is dictating the pace, and consistently for 37s, they just went about 4 miles at 18:26. You can see the group just got smaller and smaller, and it's now to be able to just be in somebody's mind. Everybody knows each other's strengths and weaknesses at this point, and you don't want to be falling apart from this group because you want to hold on for as long as you can.
And 4 minutes and 37 per mile is exactly the pace that he ran when he when he set the world record in Berlin at 2:01:09. 4:37, 26 times. And I mean this in the nicest way. That's stupid. Carrie, I think we got some Minnesotans in there.
No, we definitely do. We've got 2 of them at least, but Megan Christian right now, she's out in the lead. You know, she's had a great year running many marathons. I think maybe this is her 5th marathon in 2022 and now in the early part of 2023. And she is a sub 2:30 marathoner. So she's keeping this pace on us. You know, we aren't seeing, like we are on the men's side, this real aggressive pace. But when you are in this kind of a pack where you do know that you have such, you know, great in that pack, you still need to run your own race. And I think that's what we saw even, Matt, with your race. You ran your own race that day. You had a lot on you. You wanted to win, but you also were running your own race. And I think people were, you know, kind of playing around and focusing on other people, maybe not looking at you as much. And that's what's happening right here. They're focusing on other people and not necessarily the pace or who's leading.
Having a deep group, that's what it means. You got to be able to study each other and who's going to make the first move. So you kind of just cautiously studying each other.
For the first time, we're seeing Amane Bariso. She's the fastest woman in this field by 3 minutes. She's got a 2:14 marathon PB, and she is one of the athletes that everyone is watching to see if she can run close to what she's run before in 2:14.
They came through the first 5K in 17:48, and that's not going to wear anybody out. So that's why that pack is as it is. The men approaching 30 minutes in on their race, so that means they're just they probably just kicked through 10K in 28:52. Kipchoge comes through in 28:52. I feel like since it's a water station and the guys are rehydrating and taking a bit of a break, we will as well from the booth and go back to Ed and Maria.
All right, John, so if you didn't know, Boston Marathon is held on Patriots Day here in Massachusetts.
And Patriots Day here in Massachusetts marks the shot heard round the world, the Battle of Lexington and Concord, back on April 19th of 1775. And that, of course, kicked off the American Revolution. A reenactment is held on Lexington Green every year on this day. And this is what you're seeing here, obviously. From 1897 until 1968, so an extended period of time, Patriots Day was always on April 19th, no matter what day of the week that fell on. But then in 1969, Massachusetts state law was changed to officially recognize Patriots Day on the 3rd Monday in April, which is this year on the 17th. But Massachusetts, Maine, Wisconsin, Florida, Connecticut, and North Dakota, they all celebrate Patriots Day today. So we're all Patriots on this day, not only in those 6 states here in the Union, but here in Boston on Marathon Monday.
It is wonderful, and thank you so much for being here with us on this Patriots Day, the 127th running of the great Boston Marathon.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
Finding Adventure is back with a brand new season. I'm going to new cities and meeting new people. Find out what it's like when you get up, get out, and go find adventure. Finding Adventure, only on Very Local.
It's kind of cool to think that there are people who see what you're doing and think, oh, well, maybe whatever I thought was outside the box, maybe there is a place for that.
And just get out there and do it.
These are the incredible stories of our Maker Nation.
I'm going to consider moving now this has happened.
Stephanie! It's mind-boggling.
You know you're going to get caught, and now you don't have pants. Who looks silly now?
This is where Boston turns first in the morning. Boston's #1 morning news.
We are staying on top of some breaking news this morning.
By the time you're coming home today, this is going to be on our doorstep.
This is where newsmakers come first in the morning. America's #1 morning show.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother? Are you worried about going to jail?
Most watched, most trusted. WCVB News Center 5 Eye Opener and Good Morning America.
Sea picture, hey? Set sail with me.
Over the sea,
let's go, man.
Every weekday morning when you tune in with me.
I'll sail and sail and sail the sea.
Ahoy! A brand new
127th Boston Marathon is in full swing. The men's wheelchair, about 8 minutes now from finishing up, and that's just going to be a coronation the last couple of miles for Marcel Hoog. The women's wheelchair, Susanna Scaroni about to win for the first time in Boston after so many races and close finishes. Bottom left, men's professional race. There's Eliud Kipchoge and a bunch of guys who are not Eliud Kipchoge. Great credentials, but not them. Amanda, go ahead, try to inject some drama in this for me.
Looks like the roads are dry. Marcel is really, really comfortable. The pack behind him has fallen apart, and that's a really interesting story there, too. We've got Daniel Romachuk in third, with a relative newcomer, Jesse Platt, ahead of him, who's a two-time gold medalist in para-triathlon. But Marcel is just cruising here. He looks super, super comfortable. He's still on pace for a course record. We're looking at 1:17:44 right now. If he can hold the pace he's on right now, he will smash that course record and set a new world's best time.
So he's racing the clock, is what you're telling me.
Marcel took off to race the clock. I think he thinks about that more than anything else out there. He's not concerned about his competitors. He's got a time he wants to hit, and he's going to do it. If you can stick with him, good luck.
And I'm sure there's some want to, because a year ago he withdrew from this race with illness like 60 minutes before the start. So that tells you that he wrestled with that decision before he made it.
Absolutely. And he has been undefeated since 2021. He is dominant right now. Holds world records over every event from the 400 all the way up, and has been absolutely unbeaten since Daniel took him in a sprint finish in Chicago.
He is so dominant that when I quizzed him on some of the wins he had in the world, he had no idea how many he had in each of these cities. Great to have live action here at the 127th Boston Marathon. Marcel Hoog, an hour and 10 minutes in, the great Swiss, the silver bullet, powering his way towards the finish line here in Boston. He has made it through Hopkinton, through Ashland, through Framingham, Natick, Wellesley, Newton, and Brookline and Boston remain. He'll get to come down Boylston Street. He's done it before, but I imagine each time is fantastic. You see really wet pavement there. There's Susanna. How much do I have to watch? If I'm Hoog, how much do I have to make sure I don't mess this up on the wet pavement on the way in?
Absolutely, that is the factor for Marcel right now. He can't make any mistakes. If he makes a mistake, if he slips on the pavement, if he takes a bad turn, he's going to lose his chance at a course record here. He's at 3:08 per mile for his last mile. That was mile 23, and that's a really, really solid pace. Susanna looks like she's continuing. She's smooth. She's climbing well. She's still in dry pavement right now, so she doesn't have to worry about that just quite yet.
Now, the beauty of this for Hoog is that even if some disaster should be falling, he's got time to change tires and do a lot of other things when he comes through here. He's through the hard part, right? When they go through Kenmore Square, I don't know whether they saw it, but there's some railroad tracks that Eliud Kipchoge is going to kind of have to watch his step. But you really have to watch your chair, because that is a disaster waiting to happen.
Absolutely. If you are not ready for those railroad tracks, you can hit those tracks the wrong direction with your wheel and actually get your wheel stuck in them, and you'll go down, take whoever is with you down as well. But Marcel, he's cruising, he's comfortable. You can see he's picked up his pace a little bit. His arms are moving a little bit faster. He knows he's close to the record, and he wants that record.
Well, you can see he is dug in here. That is not a guy that is coasting to the finish. That is a guy who is powering to the finish.
On the women's side, Susanna's still running a good pace as well. She was 1:35:08 at 18 miles. That's a 3:40 pace. She's going sub 4-minute miles, even through the hills.
And listen, I would think in her case, much like the other one, any record would be nice, but if you've never won this race and you've had so many close finishes, let me just get to the tape.
Absolutely. This is not nearly as much about the time for Susanna. This will be a big win for her in a very strong field, and this is an absolutely dominant performance.
Yeah, as we said, this is the 9th time that she's been here, and she has so much experience in these World Marathon Majors. When she finally cracked through last year to win at Chicago, and then followed that up with the New York City Marathon, and then to come here and win. I mean, that stamps her certainly to some degree, at least in the current time, maybe not historically, but in the current time, she is now Char's equal.
And she is one to watch. I think she's going to continue to become more confident, to get stronger, to learn more about all of these courses and about her own strengths. Marcel just passed 24 miles. He's on a 2:57 pace right now.
And now he is just following the motorbikes and hoping, as Amanda touched on, hopefully they know the way.
Absolutely. He knows, though. He's going to keep his head up this time. He knows he can make a wrong turn if he follows them off the course. Just past 25 miles, and he looks really comfortable.
Yeah, they go down under an underpass, and then it's just the 1 mile left.
He's pulled his projected finish from low 117s down to the high 116s. If he can hit that, he is going to break his own course record by over a minute. He will be the first man in a wheelchair to go sub 117 over 26 miles, which is incredible. That's amazing.
Another barrier. This first wheelchair race here in Boston came in 1975, so this is the 49th running. Just for a little comparison's sake, and I realize it's different days, Daniel Romanchuk last year won here in 1:26:58. And Hoog is about to just explode past that number.
Absolutely. The wind, the conditions, the weather, they all play huge factors in the wheelchair race, as we mentioned earlier. And this is the perfect day for Marcel. Light wind, cool weather, and he came out confident.
He's come through. He's rolled 1:17:47 is his world record. And I don't know how closely we keep barriers, Amanda. Like, I feel like 120 would be a great barrier. I don't know, is 117, is that, do we get to bronze him after this?
You know, I'm not even sure anyone knew that was possible.
Okay.
This sport is moving so quickly. Technology is advancing, training techniques are advancing. All of this is continuing to improve because wheelchair racing's not that old. Racing chairs designed this way with 3 wheels have only existed since the early 90s. So we're still learning a lot about all of this.
So there's Hoog behind him, Jetse Plot from the Netherlands, Romanchuk, the defending champ, in 3rd. They were 8 minutes behind, excuse me, at the last 5K. Pike is there in 4, Watanabe in 5th. Monahan came over from Ireland. Listen, you don't think the Irish guy's getting some cheers as he comes through the streets in Boston? He was in 6th place. And now the turn.
And he is cruising. Another huge thing to mention if we're talking about barriers and equality for this wheelchair division is the equal prize bonus for breaking that course record. Boston was one of the first races to put that into effect. And this is a big thing when we're talking about equality of these divisions.
First place here will pay $25,000. There is a $50,000 time bonus. That'll make you chase your clock.
Absolutely, and he knows he has it. He knew from the start that this was his goal. Look how confident he is coming across the finish line here.
Yep, he has just a few hundred meters to go to championship number 6. And it will be Marcel Hoog. Give that man his medal. Boston Marathon champ one more time and in record-setting style.
Marcel Hoog, 2023 Boston Marathon champion. This is his 6th championship here in Boston and 3rd course record.
And you hear the bells of the Old South Church toll in honor of the champion, Marcel Hoog.
Marcel Hoog's unofficial finishing time is 1:17:06. That is smashing his former record here by almost a minute.
By the way, yeah, and by the way, if we have to correct that up or down a second, like, I don't know that I'm unimpressed any less by that. That's amazing. Amazing run. So we'll let him gather himself, and we will visit with him soon after that phenomenal performance. And we go back to the elite races as it has begun to rain on the men out on the course and the women in the elite fields. The men have gone through 10K. They're got to be coming through pretty soon here for 15K. Men, they've slowed a bunch. I say they've slowed a bunch, and we're talking 4:46 for mile 5, 4:41 for mile 6, and 4:52. And Carrie, we still have a bunch of ladies interested in the fight here.
We definitely do. I mean, look at that pack right now, and you can see a bunch of our Americans right there. We talked about Emma Bates early on. There's Des, you know, right on the back of the pack, which I kind of feel like is exactly where she likes to be, running her own race. You know, you can see Annie Frisbee in there as well, but right up front, we are looking at Maureen Chepkamoy. This is her first time running in the U.S. and also the first time running in a World Marathon Majors. And she's been leading the charge for a long time. On her shoulder there is Lorna Salpeter. She is third from the World Championship. She was second at the New York City Marathon. She really wants a win. She wants a #1. Yes. She's had a lot of podiums. She wants a #1.
And it's the women's wheelchair champion in waiting. Although she's fighting through some final hills there, Susanna Scaroni will have the finish of the women's wheelchair. Amanda will take us through that with insight and expertise when we return here to the 127th Boston Marathon.
.2 miles that push you to the limit of what's possible, to prove that at our healthiest, there's no telling how far we can go. Join Abbott as we celebrate the runners of the Boston Marathon, one of the premier races of the Abbott World Marathon Majors, because wherever we are on life's journey, with good health, we are unstoppable.
Hang on, everybody. Weekdays, catch me if you can.
112, we're now in pursuit of Van, heading westbound.
Turn left here.
Van has turned.
Catch Adam 12 and the A-Team.
All right, you in the van. Come on out nice and slow with your hands empty.
Weeknights starting at 5 on MeTV Boston.
You're invited to get local. Nobody does it like we do. Very local.
This is my town.
The only streaming channel that brings you closer than ever to your hometown.
I'm a tourist in my own city.
With original series and specials, loaded with local flavor.
Let's get cooking.
Ta-da! Adventure.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Keep going, keep going. And discoveries.
Welcome to my studio.
You never know what you'll find right outside your door.
It's the best place in the world.
Plus, all the news you need from the hometown team you trust. Available anytime you want.
History made.
It's your channel, so watch it your way.
Really?
Live or on demand. At home or on the go. All day, all night, all free. It's that easy to stay very connected to your community and beyond with Very Local. Download the free Very Local app now.
Yeah, I guess at time 36.
Back at the 127th Boston Marathon, Amanda McGrory, as exciting and as fun as it looks when you are coasting downhill, this part just looks brutal.
It is grueling. The great thing about wheelchair racing is we do get a recovery down those hills. You can shake your arms out a little bit, you can roll down the hill, you can recover a little bit, but it's not enough to be ready for this. And Susanna is hurting. She's through 21 miles, so we're getting close to the end here. But she has such a big gap, 3 minutes ahead of defending champion Manuela Schär. I think that she can afford to struggle a little bit here. She doesn't necessarily have to be at her best to keep that gap.
What does she have today that Schär's missing on this day?
Susanna's strength, and it has always been her strength, is that she grinds. She wants to push as hard as she can. She has grit. She wants to go, and she wants to test herself and see how fast she can go. She hasn't had the skill, she hasn't had the strength to really capitalize on that yet. But right now, she's untouchable, and she is going to work harder than anyone else out there. She's still on a 3:44 pace, which is solid, and she is about to finish in her second fastest time ever on this course.
And it's an amazing thing, as you touched on, what confidence can do. You win a couple of world majors, and suddenly it's not just your peer group, you own them. And there, look at the emotion. You don't think that guy's happy, Amanda, when he came through in that time? I mean, that guy's got more wins than anybody in the history of women's marathon, wheelchair marathon majors, and he is still excited, and he is a champ, and he is down there with Sage Steele.
And here
Sage,
we are with
I don't know how you
six-time Boston Marathon champion, Marcel Hug. Okay, I say 6 times, and your grin gets as big as I've ever seen it, and I've seen it pretty big before, certainly in New York. How does this one feel compared to the previous 5?
It feels incredible. It was a great race, but also a difficult race in these conditions, and to do this fast time on this course in these conditions is, for me, it's incredible.
Okay, yes, I have to talk about the fast time, 1:17:06. So you blew away your own course record by a minute. How at one point did you have over a 7-minute lead on this kind of competition, Marcel?
I don't know. Just try to go hard from the beginning, as hard as possible, and see what's possible in these conditions. But yeah, 7 minutes, it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, he's so humble that that's a lot. Talk to me about the hardest part of the race. Obviously, we know the hills, but the hills combined with these conditions, and we were talking about it on the race while watching you, you really still couldn't afford to make a mistake, and that was hard to not do on these conditions.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult in these conditions, especially in the corners. You have to brake softly. And the railways were also difficult, 36 kilometers. And but yeah, the uphills are really tough, but in the downhill you have time to recover.
So what's next? Your resume continues to get more and more impressive. Obviously you need to absorb this and I hope enjoy it. But then what's next for you?
Next race is London Marathon next Sunday, so very big.
Next Sunday?
Yeah, next Sunday.
You're crazy, and we love it. Marcel Hug, the silver bullet, gets it done again. 6-time champion here at the Boston Marathon. Thank you, and congrats again. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, Sage, when you ask what's next, I'm like, you don't want to know, because it's all too soon. Susanna Scaroni, she's getting ready to come down Boylston Street and get her first championship at the Boston Marathon. We're back with the conclusion of that fantastic race when we return here on ESPN2 and WCVB.
We all define our finish lines differently, but realizing them always starts with good health. It enables us to move forward, one step at a time. It's how the fastest marathon runners in the world train to test their physical limits, then push a little further and achieve the seemingly impossible, inspiring all of us to live our fullest lives through the power of health.
Cheers. 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 Love travel? So do some of our favorite celebrities.
I'm an expert traveler because I've traveled so much for work.
Welcome to In Transit, where we hunker down at an airport bar to chat everything from travel horror stories.
Maybe the most fainters we've ever had in a show was in Tel Aviv.
To top travel destinations.
I like Boston. It's a really good college town.
We'll even share some ideas on how to kill time the next time you're bored at the airport.
It's time for a game. You tell me whether they are allowed on airplanes.
Oh, I'm kind of good at this. I think it's because I've seen a lot of weird people do a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Plus, hot spots to hit in your favorite cities, so you'll have an Esquire-approved itinerary.
We source fish from all around the world.
Instead of being just a listening room, it's a hang.
The verb is an immersion into a musical experience unlike anything else.
So grab your luggage. Come meet me at the bar. You won't miss your flight.
You're invited to get local. Very local.
This is my town.
The only streaming channel that brings you closer than ever to your hometown.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
With original series, specials,
Let's get cooking.
and all the local news you need from the hometown team you trust.
History made.
Live or on demand, at home or on the go.
I love it.
Download the free Very Local app now.
Back here on the 127th Boston Marathon. A look at the men's and women's professional fields right there, and still quite a pack of the men as they went through 43:56 for 15K, which was just off the course record by about 8 seconds. At least the pace at the time by Geoffrey Mutai. Women's professional race is out there and riding along on course in the elements with the women's professional race and elite runners is Naoko Funiyama, longtime Boston reporter, member of the WCVB sports team. She is on our team. And honestly, Naoko, I thought we'd have more people for you to keep track of at this point. How's it going?
It's going great here. They're about 10 miles into the race.
It's going great. You know, the runners are looking very, very strong. They've got really good body language, very relaxed. They were running in a big pack for a while, but now they've really spread out. And somehow that the pace would be coming out of the gate very, very fast because of the fact that 15 of these runners have a personal best of under 2 hours and 21 minutes. So, I mean, this is a very stacked field. But when I spoke to Amani Bariso a couple of days ago, she said she hopes the pace isn't too fast coming out of the gate because she wants to gradually build up. And that's exactly what she's done as the leader of the pack for a good portion of this most recent part of the race, John.
Thank you, Naoko. Well, as you
5:08.
keep track of that as we go through. Women kind of surged there in mile 7. They went for 5:08. Riding shotgun with our elite men's field, WCVP reporter, longtime Boston sports observer, covering this race more than a dozen times, Josh Brigadier. Josh, just give us a feel for what you've got here. Listen, you got nothing but alpha dogs right there running in front of you.
Alpha Dogs is a good way to describe it, John. We've got a pack of 12 here, of course, led by Eliud Kipchoge. Who else? But I'm very impressed by C.J. Albertson, who kind of falls back and then he comes ahead, and he's been neck and neck the entire time. Of course, he led for 18 miles last year. We're approaching Wellesley. I don't hear that scream tunnel yet, but I did run for a little while with members of the Wellesley Blue track and field team. They said they wanted to come out and watch the elite runners. They were going to get up early before all the screaming started to enjoy it. And we can certainly enjoy this along with them on this race. John?
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to get loud and it gets lusty when they get over the Wellesley, which will be nice. There you see the men's elite race. Meb, I'm sorry I cut you off to get to Naoko. You were saying as they went through the 10K mark.
10-mile mark.
10 miles.
There's about 10 or 12 of them. Went out 47.18. Slowed down a little bit to 4:56, which is about 2:04.01 pace, which is great.
You get the sense that they're still kind of running. Nobody's raced yet.
No, nobody has raced yet. They're still watching each other, but I think they just went through Wesley, and we're looking forward to make probably a big move coming up.
One of the favorite things that I've heard coming into this race is C.J. Albertson describing how he does his downhill training. His treadmill does not do -2%, which you need on this course. So he puts bricks underneath his treadmill to pound on those quads. And another thing I've heard is the great Dick Beardsley used to pound his quads in training afterwards to see if that would help. He doesn't have any science behind it, and if anyone knows Dick Beardsley, they know this is kind of fun. But the way that these guys train, and it's no surprise to see C.J. Albertson up there with Kipchoge.
I know that Dick Beardsley needed to find 2 more seconds.
He did.
In the great race with Alberto Salazar.
Yes, he did.
Back in 1983, right? They ran 2:08.52 and 2:08.54, I believe is what they came through in that wonderful race there. And there's nothing to lead me to believe, Meb, in looking at that picture, that Kipchoge's uncomfortable in the least.
No, he is looking perfect. His form is just right and in control. As he described him earlier, the alpha man is in control and looks great, and his stride looks absolutely incredible, and those other guys are taking his lead.
T. Evans Chibet over on the right side, the defending champ. His teammate Benson Kipruto is there as well. Is there a way those two guys can work together Meb, to try and maybe wear down Kipchoge, his teammates?
You know, as I was competing, those Kenyans and Ethiopians, sometimes they speak Amharic or Swahili, but the Kenyans are contingent all over there. So yes, they will work together, but the question is when.
Love that we absolutely pointed out, so you know, Eliud Kipchoge, because he's the guy you want to know, running in the States for the first time since 2014 when he won in Chicago, and he said, I am just happy to put my feet in the streets of Boston. And he has been Boston since he came a little early, but this guy has been mobbed everywhere he's gone since he's been in town. He's got a phalanx of security just because everybody wants to get a look at him. Carrie.
The energy that it takes, and you know, again, Meb, you are probably one of the first athletes that really did outside appearances when we were at big events. You were scheduled and scheduled and scheduled, but to know how much work goes into what Kipchoge has had to do this weekend, besides now line up and race, I mean, his schedule's been packed.
I mean, his schedule is packed. I have to win the Boston Marathon to get the attention that people kind of connected with me. He didn't even start Hopkinton, and he was already mobbed. He's such an icon, a great leader, and an amazing legend for the sport, and ambassador from globally. And that's why everybody, you know, him running under 2 hours made him who he is, and people just want to get a picture or time with him.
And he's coming through the Scream Tunnel with the Wellesley and all the students there at Wellesley. Yeah. I'm just letting that wash over us a little bit. It is loud, and they love it. Ed Maria, these are your people.
Well, there's a reason why it's loud, John. This is a tradition that goes back decades. We call it the Wellesley Scream Tunnel.
And just listen to them. I mean, and that isn't, there's no script, there's no cue card being held up and said, scream, everyone. They just scream. This is at Wellesley College, which is right at the entrance, right on the line between Natick and Wellesley, as soon as you get into Wellesley. It's right near the halfway point. They're virtually at the halfway point of the marathon. As you just heard them pass through, it's a tunnel of noise, the hoots and hollers. The students offer high fives. I didn't see any kisses right there as they went through, but obviously this is the elite group. Wait till the other runners go through. Stand by for that. Kisses. Sometimes that's not even enough. Runners get some added inspiration from handmade signs of encouragement. The students show off it too. It's a little lifter as you hit the halfway point, guys.
Meb, did you ever sneak off and get a kiss there, or did the Scream Tunnel?
I did not do the kiss, but however you remember the sound of there is just a thrilling to be there and give them thumbs up, pump their chest. Is exciting, is very enthusiastic people, and want to just make you want to go faster.
You didn't go by and give a kiss, but my husband sure did.
Charlie got in there?
He did.
And you're not mad, you're done.
I'm not mad at him. You go for it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
Chuck's a handsome man.
He is.
Probably had a lot of suitors along the way when he comes through there. Kipchoge right out in front, which is what the people that came to see this race want to see. Trying to add Boston to his resume to go with Tokyo, London, Berlin, Chicago. We're going to go back out to Josh, and I'm just going to hope he can hear me in this because it's loud up there. Josh?
I can hear you at this point, although we're going through Wellesley Center now, just through that Scream Tunnel. The energy level was incredible. And I should point something out. You might even be able to see rain on my lens. We've got a steady drizzle right now as we're coming through here. It has not stopped these crowds from enjoying this moment and seeing this pack come through. You're all talking about how great Eliud looks. I agree with you, but I think there are 11 other runners with him who also look very strong right now. At some point, maybe he bursts ahead, but as of right now, they're all staying together. It's a great race to watch, and I should say, I think I do have the best seat in the house. John?
Listen, I'd trade with you except for the rain. As they go through there. Meb, 59:01 for 20K. You impressed yet?
Absolutely. This is a course record pace, still possible, as they went 59:01 at the 20K. 58:45 for Mutai, where Mutai was. So 4:44 last mile. You know, the competition is starting to happen. We would not be surprised to see a possible course record.
Yeah, still very much in play. Jeffrey Mutai. Jeffrey Mutai's record is also the fastest marathon ever run on American soil. Though we're not going to get into all the rules of it. Boston records are not things that could be considered world records or world best, but certainly the time is the time when you put it down. And 2:03 and change is the fastest ever run here in the United States. Kipchoge and the rest.
What a great run for the Americans here. CJ Epperson and Connor Mintz be able to be there. You know, it's just a ride, ride the wave. This is what is happening, and to be in the same course, same pace as Kipchoge, it gives them a thrill of a lifetime.
Mance is in the back of that pack, but he's still right there. He had a great debut marathon in Chicago, second fastest time ever by an American in a debut. He would like to get under 2:08 for sure. Take a look at the 3 box. Marcel Hooves a champ. Who's going to join him with the elite men, the elite women? Next across the line is going to be Susan Scaroni. We know she's going to get her laurel wreath. That's coming up when we come back.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
Nobody loves where they came from more than me, Boston Rob, and I'm back for a new season to take you on a tour of some of my favorite places in Boston and beyond. Plus explore New England in ways I never have before. So come with me as I explore places of incredible beauty and meet amazing people. This is my backyard, and I can't wait to share it with you.
Boston Rob does Beantown and beyond. Only on Very Local.
How awesome is this? That's amazing!
Get ready. Finding Adventure is back with a brand new season.
So amazing!
Let's go. I'm going to new cities and meeting new people. You ready for your aha moment? I'm so ready for it.
Won't that be fun?
Holy mackerel! Who want just a little or a lot of adventure in their lives.
I'm still at awe that this is here.
Everything needs to be an adventure at this point.
So come with me, and I promise we'll laugh, we'll scream, we'll jump out of planes.
Yes.
And find out what it's like when you get up, get out, and go find adventure.
This is the longest peace and quiet I've had in like ages.
You are one of the most inspiring people I've ever met.
Thanks for bringing me along. This was great.
Finding Adventure, only on Very Local.
127th Boston Marathon on ESPN2 and WCVB. We got a lot of business happening in the men's elite race and the women's elite race. They've got some time, so we're going to concentrate on the women's wheelchair, where Susanna Scaroni, in her ninth try, is about to win the Boston Marathon. Amanda, is there any potential between now and the finish line that could derail this thing?
You know, she has such a gap on the rest of the field. She's up over a mile. She could slow down. She could push one-handed across the finish line, and I think that she's still got this. And this is really her strength. This is how she won her gold medal at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. She took off hard, she took off strong, and she held that gap. We were talking about how she has grit, how she loves to do this. And in the 5K on Saturday morning, she almost finished third for the men's wheelchair division. She came up along the third place group of men, and they sprinted across the line to come in ahead of her. That's how fast she is. She's out there, and she really, really just wants to test herself and to test the course and see what she can do.
Watching her come through. I mean, this has got to be really no stress. Because usually, Amanda, when you say I won by a mile, like that's hyperbole, right?
This is a literal.
She's going to win by a mile.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because she texted me this morning and said, I don't know if I'm feeling it today. And clearly, she is feeling it today. She went off hard from the start.
Or good Lord, if she's not feeling it.
Absolutely. Who knows what she's capable of when she is feeling great.
Listen, give me the difference. She was the runner-up in 2022. Like, it's only one spot from second to first. But just the difference that is in your life and what it can mean.
You know what? For someone like Susannah, who has been on this circuit for so long and has been trying to get these wins for such a long time, to win her first Boston, to win her third major, this is so huge. She's going to be absolutely over the moon, especially because she didn't think she was strong enough. She didn't think she had it in her today.
I mean, her career is just nothing but top fives. And then in the last year, starting in Chicago and New York and now here, finally that top step of the podium.
Absolutely. It took her a little bit longer to break through, but when she did, she was ready. She was experienced. She knew the courses. She knew her strengths. She knew her competitors. And she's here. She is a serious force to contend with.
And she'd won marathons before. She'd won in Los Angeles a couple of times. I love people in Duluth. She'd won Grandma's. But this is a different level. There's a reason they call them platinum races.
There is. The fields here, the level of competition that you get here is it's like no other race. And Boston is the race. All around the world, even people who don't run marathons know the Boston Marathon. So to be able to call yourself the Boston Marathon champion is huge. And here she is, all alone, by herself. Not a chance anyone else is going to catch her.
She has only got a few hundred meters more. Means she's only got to pass one more Dunkin' Donuts.
You can see it. You can see the smile on her face. She knows she has it.
Hey, you don't need me. I'm going to let this wash over me, and I'm going to let you call your friend home as she wins the Boston Marathon. Take it.
So excited to call my friend, my teammate, Susannah Scaroni, the 2023 Boston Marathon Professional Women's Wheelchair Division champion.
Amanda, give me the sense of both the exhaustion and the exhilaration in that moment.
When you finish a race like that, when you come through, when you break the tape, it all fades away. You can see that smile on her face, and I know she's hurting. 26 miles hurts, especially on a course like this, with the wind, with the rain, everything is burning.
For whom the bells toll at the South Church, and in this case, it's Susannah Scaroni. Her first championship in the Boston Marathon, and I tell you what, that completes quite a series. As we said, twice second, 3 times third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth.
She's unofficial at 1:41.45, her third fastest time in Boston.
So now we can say there are 3 past champions in the field, with Susannah Scaroni back at the men's elite field. Man, we had a little moment there where Kipchoge was sort of making some movements. I don't know if he was telling people to like get off my back or take the lead or what, but he had some words for people.
You know, road racing is fun, exciting, but at the same time very spacious. As they just went out to the halfway point at 1:02.19. Great pacing, but yes, I mean, you want to protect your space, you want to protect your distance, but sometimes it's a sign of fatigueness sometimes when people bump into you. That happened to me at the Olympic trials, and it's not very friendly sometimes, but at the same token, sometimes you don't want to work the line like Galen Rupp did at the Olympic Games to be able to push the pace, because the king, the lion, you don't want to get him upset.
I was going to say, and Galen's not even in there. That pack, Kipchoge, Kipruto, all the careers, John, Mark, Albert, Connor Mance in the fight, Evans Chebet, the defending champ, Belay, Gay, and C.J. Albertson, as you see there now, he's kind of in the back right, that he's dropped away. But they've gone through the half in 1:02.19, so that's certainly a respectable time, if not a course record or world record time. That's still, they're doing some good yeoman work there. There you see Evans Chebet over on the right side. Champion last year in Boston as well as New York. And he's a guy you're going to watch. We're trying to watch up to about 35K because in both their victories, Chebet last year and Benson Kipruto in 21. 35K is where they decided that they were going to decide the race, and they went.
Absolutely. I think they're spreading out a little bit here because they want to know who to study each other. And the rain, you can see the ground is wet, but we're not going to see probably the same move at 35K because they're predicting that possibly. So we look forward to possibly have a surprise somewhere else before or after.
Well, nobody's sneaking up on anybody in this race, that's for sure. With that field, everybody knows everybody. Everybody respects everybody. Women's professional field on the right. We got a few characters in that drama we're going to have to talk to Kerry about when we return to the 127th Boston Marathon.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
Sheriff's Office, how may I help you? I'm calling to find out if I can have a wellness check.
A shot out of the dark. People were scared.
Things like that don't happen here.
Every turn of the story was always in the headlines.
Up to 100 volunteers turned out for today's search effort.
It's every parent's nightmare.
The incident has shaken up the entire area.
I want my granddaughter home.
I've never seen anything that would compare to anything like this.
How was this even able to happen? How did they let this happen?
Well, what kind of justice is that?
And that was just the beginning of the story.
I don't know how we're going to get through this.
I thought for sure I was dead. I just didn't know when.
You really never know who the monster is standing next to you.
For most, there's no place like home.
Can I run away from home?
But not for Ronnie Howard.
I ran away, Gomer. I ran away from home.
You're not sending me home.
You want to run away from home?
Why'd you want to come way out here? To join the Marines.
How do you feel?
I'm a Marine. We're the best.
Ronnie's real home is MeTV.
I don't want to run away. I changed my mind.
Oh.
Watch MASH, Andy Griffith, and Gomer Pyle.
Weeknights starting at 7 on MeTV Boston.
Back here on ESPN2 WCVB, the 127th running of the Boston Marathon. On your left, there's the greatest of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, leading the men's elite field that has both the past champions in it as well, as they get to the drink station. Meb, tell me, what's the trick to doing the drink station right?
The drink station comes every 5K, and you want to be able to just grab it as soon as possible and walk away from the water station because you don't want to stumble against somebody else. But it is also a good point in time to study other competitors, their form, their mechanic, and what they're looking like. So it is a good time to make a move otherwise, and if that happens, you have to hold on to your water as long as possible to cover the move.
Got your bottles all marked and make sure they're all in the right place and nobody grabs the wrong one.
You know, once happened to me, so when somebody grabbed my bottle, I have to go, hey, that's mine. So you got to have a little bit of fun with it, but you have your special drink that you train with. And you know, sometimes you have gel inside there or electrolyte to help you get to the finish line as strong as possible.
I went through the last 5K section, 15:03. So that's fairly, you know, nothing spectacular right there. That's, again, that just leads you to believe that they are racing, and those who are fit can keep up, and those that maybe don't quite have that same level will fall off. But nobody's surged there to see if they can bury anybody.
It's not a surge to the finish line, but you can see that the group is getting narrower and narrower. There's about 6 or 7 left, and now it's getting down to the 5 people, and then hopefully podium and for victory. So the strategy and tactics are very important at this point.
The time coming through that 25K, 1:14:04, led by Kipchoge. And there's our women's champion, Susanna Scaroni. Like, she was ready to be done. You notice she put the brakes on and like, here I am. And now she's had time to gather her composure, gather her breath, and we go down to the champ with Sage Steele.
Yes, I am honored, John, to be with the champ right now. By the way, your friend, your teammate, Amanda McGrory, on the call with us. I think she was getting emotional as she saw this happen for you. Where did your emotions come from right now as you sit here and try to absorb all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I have come to Boston ever since 2012, and it's been one of my all-time favorite courses. I really love hilly courses. And today, you know, we had an amazing field. The course itself challenged me, the rain challenged me, and the crowds, like I've learned whether you're in the first or last place, the crowds here are rain and shine, always there to support you. And I just felt so lifted up by that, and wanted to give it my all, like always. I'm just really proud of that, and proud to race with such a strong field of women who, a lot of whom have, you know, helped me get to where I am, including Amanda. So thank you, yeah.
Yeah, interesting, of course. We are watching closely as you pull over and you pull out your toolkit. And everyone here was holding their collective breaths. What was going on and what was going through your mind when you were trying to fix it?
Yeah, so this course was pretty bumpy, and what that can mean sometimes is my axle can come a little bit loose, and so it did, unfortunately. But I carried an Allen key, and I just, you know, pulled over, tightened up as quickly as I could, and just, I didn't see anyone behind me, so I was like, well, maybe I can maintain the gap.
Was your heart racing during that moment, like because you had to stop?
I was super disappointed, but at the same time, I'm so happy I had an Allen key. I've done marathons where I didn't, and so I have learned throughout my years to carry everything you need. And so I just want to, you know, try to keep a gap, but I knew that I had lost a lot of ground from that.
Finally, you said you've been coming here since 2012. 3 third-place finishes, runner-up last year, and now this. You did it. What's your biggest takeaway after all these years of trying and now doing it?
I really think, and this went through my mind today, you know, regardless of what you're experiencing that day, some setbacks you can have, it's a privilege to be out here. And I learned, you know, after taking a year where I couldn't race, I'm so happy just to get to be here and the opportunity we have to do this sport and to inspire others. And I try to soak in each moment of that now.
You did it, and as our friend John Anderson said, I mean, you literally won by a mile. Like, you demolished the course in the competition, and it is really awesome to see. Congratulations, Susanna Scaroni, the champion here at Boston finally. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sage. And now, just a side note, 7 more, and she'll match Jean Driscoll for the most all-time in the women's wheelchair event. But we'll get to that later.
One by one.
There you go. 16th mile, a little downhill. Meb, they peel off a little something, 4:23.
4:23. That's pretty fast, but I think the course record is slipping as well. But I think here the biggest challenge of the hills are coming, and the group just got narrower and smaller. And that early pace on 4:37 that they went is kind of costing to some people.
And it's about to get really hard. 16 is that long downhill into 17, and now we're going to be into the hills here momentarily.
16 is one of the fastest late in the race before you make the right turn to the fire station, and then you start climbing the hills. And, you know, this is where the race is going to happen. So we see 7 people been together going up the hills.
And then over on the women's side, Carrie, we still got quite a pack. I like that Helen O'Beary's there. We're kind of waiting for her. And Bates from the U.S. Hello, Emma.
Yeah, and Emma's right there. And you know what I loved is they went through that last water station, and everyone still grabbed it. It is humid, but it is wet, as you can see, and it's cool. So you got to make sure that you're still fueling. And that's the one thing with Helen O'Beary that she maybe didn't quite get in her first marathon in New York City that she's trying to do here.
Let's bring in Naoko Funiyama, because quite frankly, if you're out there in the lead moto, Naoko, and it's raining, I feel like the whole world's a water station to you right now.
Yeah,
It's fine, man. This is great running weather, John. I mean, honestly, these runners have such great posture, especially coming into Natick Center, and you got the, the big cheers starting to happen. You hit the Wellesley College Scream Tunnel. Now we're Wellesley Center, and you can tell that the runners are so motivated by the cheers because you can see they're starting to kick a little bit stronger. I love the fact that Emma Bass was a little bit behind this lead pack for a little while, but then right before the Scream Tunnel, she kind of joined in with that lead pack. A couple of runners told me that they don't like to be too far from the lead pack because they want that initial surge of cheers, the loud cheers that comes because it's such a huge motivator. So the runners are looking really good at this point in the race. The rain doesn't bother them at all, John.
Rain doesn't bother them. Carrie, at what point then does it bother them, or is it just a nuisance, or how do I feel about the rain?
Well, I think that right now they are, getting closer to home. We know that they're over halfway. They went through in 1:11:29. And there might be a little bit of chill, but I think the big thing is to not forget that, as I said, there is some humidity in the air. And if you aren't still aware of what you're taking in, you're burning a lot. So fueling, hydration is so important in these later stages. And not necessarily what happens in the later stages, it's what you've done in the early stages.
Absolutely. You want to be able to get your fluids in early on. Don't wait until you get thirsty. By that time, performance is way down. So you want to preload your carbohydrate and preload your fluid. So this is a crucial moment, and you want to have more than your competitors.
Kipchoge, Chebet, Kipruto, the brothers' career, none of them are related. Gay. Is there anybody in this pack right now, Meb, that's not there that you expected, whether it's DeCisa or Katada? Is there anybody right now that you're a little surprised isn't playing ball? Looks like Connor Mance has dropped off there too, by the way.
Absolutely. I think this one here, like the other favorites, have gone Katata and Lelisa, and but John Career, Kipchoge just took off his gloves, and followed by John Career. So I think we're going to see some great moves going on soon.
There you see the elevation chart. Way back at the left, Hop Kitten, where we started, Hop Kitten is all downhill. But now we're right there, mile 17, and we're into those 4 hills. And eventually culminates with Heartbreak Hill right there between 20 and 21. And at some point, you see, by the time you get all the way down there, you're nearly at sea level. It is a net downhill. But don't tell anybody about the net downhill when they're starting to go there in mile 17 to 18, right, Meb?
Absolutely. No, this is the...
Keep your net downhill to yourself.
You got to keep that internal information. But the course is the challenge here, and I think what we talked about earlier, the course will make the move for you, and one more search before the finish line will happen.
Tell me more what you mean by that the course will make the move for you.
So the hills are waiting for you at 17 to 21, and the early pace of lactic acid buildup at the Boston Marathon at Hopkinton will inevitably gonna cost for you. If you've been smart and you've done your training, we'll carry you through the hills. Otherwise, you're gonna pay out for your mistakes here.
So the temperature's actually really pleasant. The wind nearly absent, which are two things that are really brutal. I feel like the rain, a little fog in there, you can see that in the cameraland. I can live with that. Meb?
It's a perfect temperature here. I mean, you want to run, this is the perfect, maybe for the spectators a little bit chilly with the rain, but as a distance runner, you cannot ask for anything better.
So the gloves are off, the hats are off, and the race is engaged to a certain degree. These guys still to keep in it's wet out there, kind of holding their water at this point. I don't know that anybody's over anxious, but it's starting to get time to think about getting serious and when am I going to go ahead and decide that this is where I would like to make my stand, or at least my charge, to win the Boston Marathon.
Well, and John, we just had a front-on shot there. Now we have a side shot of a man that we've all kind of followed for so many years with Eliud Kipchoge. And just to see how fluid he is, we talk a lot about form, but this guy really has the perfect form, and he's in this, these sections of going up and down, and it doesn't really falter. And then you see him with those finishing kicks that we've seen now and time again with all the replays. He's such a beautiful runner.
Lockstep right there with John Courier in the red, whose personal best is 2:05.01. There you see some of the 25K split. We're really close to getting to the 30K split. The advanced time, you see their running time, 1 hour, 27 minutes, 14 seconds. And Kipchoge still very much in command. He says he wants to win all of the World Marathon majors, so he's close there. He's got 4. He's trying to get this one on this day, and then we can worry about November in New York at his leisure. I don't know that he adds to his course record collection, which he has in Tokyo, London, and Berlin. 3rd fastest time ever in Chicago.
Yeah, he talked about the course record early on, and then the closer we got to the race, it was a little bit more like, hey, that's the icing on the cake. But the man behind him, that tall guy right there in the Adidas kit, that's Gabriel Gay. We haven't mentioned him much. He was 4th here last year. He says he's ready and fitter than ever. He wants to be even better than he was last year, and there's not many more spots to be better.
There's not. Said he set the national record for Tanzania and his personal best at the Valencia Marathon in 2022. Finished 2nd in that one. Mev, you got some more numbers to crunch for us, because after the 4:23 downhill mile, 17 was 5:10, 18 is 4:59, which tells me they're having to work at it.
Well, and it's showing the course how hilly it is and the pace. You know, we haven't mentioned Gabriel Gay. He's an amazing athlete. He has done some of the fastest U.S. Road Championship in the short distances. We haven't seen him yet, but he's been playing it very smart, and I think it's going to be a big factor here.
Listen, I'll borrow from my good friend and SportsCenter colleague, John Butchigras. Confidence isn't just in a marathon. Confidence is everything in life. But in this case, Mev, right, at some point this comes into kind of confidence in your training, that you've done the work.
The key to success, the key to training is preparation. 90% is physical and training, and 10% mental. Today it converts to 90% mental and 10% physically. Those guys are running amazing, and to be with the iconic Eliud Kipchoge, and they're just having their dreams, but at the same time they want to be able to see what they can do against him.
And listen, training's the hard work. Race day's the fun day. Cut it loose and go.
It is a celebration to be able to be here and run your victory lap. I call it 26.2 miles of victory lap, all of your hard work.
So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 people, 8 if you count Josh Brogadier. And I count you, Josh. What do you got?
Well, that's nice to be counted among this group, I'll tell you that much. One runner that I'm watching very closely is Andoul Mbele, who has been hanging the entire time. He won Lisbon 3 times, he won in Ottawa, and he's the kind of runner that can stay with this group, and he has been very well. You also mentioned John Courier. Watching him, of course, his brother Wesley won this whole thing in 2012, the year after the record was set. But now they're coming down this area. We spoke with Benson Caputo the other day. He said to me, Boston is not won on the hills, Boston is won down the hills. And we did see that pack of 12 splinter down to 7. And as we see a little bit of a surge here from Gabriel Gay as we're coming through Newton. John?
I'm going to defer to Mev.
This is what I just mentioned him, Gabriel Gay. He's a great short distance runner, like a 7-mile, 10Ks and whatnot. And wow, this is a breakthrough. It's still early on, but making a statement on here.
He knows his way around Boston. He's been in the BAA half and twice has finished second there. Ran there twice, finished second, in 2019, third in 2018. Won the 10K at 2018 here in the BAA. And at some point, some of these guys are going to have to make a decision. Are we going to let him go and we can reel him in? Or we can stay with him and cover the move?
One thing that I like about Gabriel Gay, I talked to him the other day in a panel, and know, he loves the NBA. He likes being here in America. He also is a big fan of Ed Sheeran. I said, are you a romantic? That's what he told me was one of his favorite things to have on his playlist. But, you know, he's a great guy, and he's got a great smile, and you can tell he's got a personality that he's eager to win. He's eager to be great. And this is interesting for him to put this kind of a move on. And look at Eliud Kipchoge is off of that little pack there. It's interesting.
Yep, there's Gay, and then you go back to the two past champions with Evans Chebet and Kipruto, and then there's John Courier. And listen, the last time the weather was lousy, when they were in London with the rain, that's when Eliud Kipchoge ended up 8th in that London Marathon in rainy conditions.
Well, he did miss his last water bottle in that last water stop.
Notice he didn't take it.
He didn't take it. He went for it. He went over to the side of the table, didn't find it. And yeah, I mean, we still have a long race to go, but this is interesting stuff.
It's certainly a crisis point that maybe we didn't expect from Kipchoge. And these are the hills. And this is, if there was a question coming in on Kipchoge, age being one of them. He's 38, although he certainly ran well just a few months ago. But part of it would be those hills. So we've got some drama with the greatest of all time here in Boston. We'll get back to it right after this break. Gay out in front.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
Craving a weekend retreat? Get ready to jet set to some of the coolest getaways across the country. We'll scream our sillies out as we zip line over a Carolina river.
It feels like you're flying.
Eat our body weight in pink frosting on the Cape.
Just shut up and have a mini.
And rest our weary bones on strangers' beds.
Ooh.
Come join us on Eat, Play, Stay. Only on Very Local.
Go put on a three-piece suit and relax.
Tuesday, Will Trent, the network TV drama of the year, returns.
Your dog is obsessed with me, Trent. Do you have a lint roller?
With 3 all-new episodes, including the shocking season finale.
I think someone's targeting people from the children's home.
You are in danger.
Whoever's doing this, they're threatening us. I need to stay on this.
I'm taking the case.
Agent Mitchell, good luck with the investigation.
New Will Trent, Tuesday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Walk, run, ride with WCVB Channel 5.
Join me at the New England Miles for Melanoma 5K on May 13th at the Franklin Park Zoo. The event will host local patients, survivors, friends, and family as we join together to raise awareness and funds to advance life-saving melanoma research.
Go to WCVB.com. Click Community. Boston's community leader, WCVB Channel 5.
We are back at the Boston Marathon. Quick look at the map. We're going through the hills. Miles 20, coming off those hills, mile 21 all the way. It's downhill, but that first mile off the hills cannot be easy.
No, it cannot be easy going through the Newton Hills and go through the Heartbreak Hills. You are exhausted, you are tired, and you're looking for the Citgo sign and hopefully bring it home. And that's 1 mile to go to the Citgo sign. But everybody's waiting for it, and once you get there, you're looking forward to come to Boylston Street, making the last 2 turns on Hereford and left on Boylston.
Left on Boylston, 600 meters then to the finish. And there's the men's lead pack. And if you could, just for a moment, there's the 5. We love them. But then you go back, there's 6. And then in 7th, and sort of right now, off the group is Eliud Kipchoge. And Gabriel Gay, who made the move, has been ruled in by... reeled in quickly by the 2 teammates there, Kipruto and Evans Chebet. John Courier also there in the red, and Belay in the white siglet. And there's Eliud Kipchoge. We expected him to be running alone, maybe, but not alone in 7th.
you know, coming to the Boston Marathon, the pressure is huge. As a former world record holder, 2:01:09, every eye is on you. So, you know, I think the pressure is getting up here now, and the competitors know how to make a big move, and they made the move when it counted at the right after the hills.
Meb, how does someone with that much pressure, knowing he's run better than anyone, you know, the way he's been introduced the entire weekend, like, how does he regroup right here? Is he done?
It's hard. It is very hard to regroup here. The separation has happened. You know, you just got to get to the finish line the best you can now.
It is getting good here at the 127th Boston Marathon. 5 in the front right now for the win. Meb, they crossed the 20-mile mark, 1:35:53. But the first guy to come across was Benson Kipruto, the 21 champ, and not Eliud Kipchoge, who is in 7th, and right now at 20 miles is 16 seconds off the pace.
Look at the top 2 guys right there. They've won here on this course before. They know that they were going to come into this and work as teammates. They've kind of been back in this pack, but sort of letting everyone else dictate, when we know those were the 2 guys to really watch what happens in the later stages. And now we see these 2 teammates pushing what is the later stages of this race.
Mission 1 accomplished here. They have gotten the king throne here for this day at least, to be able to be Kipchoge ahead of him. Now those 5 men are gonna have to work hard. Are we gonna see a defending champion repeat, or a new champion, or Benson winning it again? So this is the big move, big things happening. But now you got to be calm, because somebody's going to make a move. You have to cover the move and bring it home as strong as possible.
They came through the little surge there. I had them both at the Fan Fest on Saturday afternoon, and one said, hey, can you gang up and try to beat Kipchoge? And they weren't quite sure, so I gave them a minute. I said, you guys work on that plan. But then I said, at what point do training partners become rivals and he becomes your opponent? And they were kind of coy. You know, they couldn't give a mile mark, but they're just like, at some point you just know. Now it's me against you, and we'll hug it out at the end.
This is a win for them regardless. You know, yes, they want to crack that tape, but for them to be able to work together right now, this late in the stage, I think that they're having a great day. This is what they've both been visualizing, talking about in practice. They both have won their own races. They both have had these great careers, but right now today, you know, in that final mile, it's all about them.
It's all about them.
And certainly Eliud Kipchoge right there is a man that looks like he's struggling, that we didn't see through the first 15 and 16 miles where he looked really relaxed. And now there's your defending champ, Evans Chebet, trying to make it 2 in a row. Kerry, listen, we've gotten caught up because the men's race is a huge upset in the making. We've got a lovely and wonderful race going on over on the women's side.
Look at this pack that we have. I mean, they are working their way through. We have Lana Salpeter, who has done so well, 3rd at the World Championships, 2nd at the New York City Marathon, and her husband told me she's spent time in Israel, she's spent time in Kenya. This build has been the best so far. She's had 2 races down at sea level, so she came down to race at sea level like she would be here in Boston. She's taken it really seriously, and she has really wanted this win. And so, you know, maybe not a name that everybody has said in their top 3, but I think that most of us that really know this sport have never doubted her. She is one that needs that big win, and today might be her day.
And she traveled first to Israel in 2008. She went to work for the Kenyan ambassador in Israel as a nanny, and she did tell me, she's like, listen, you chase kids around. Marathon training's not terrible.
It's so true. But then the woman on the right there, Emma Bates, the American, I mean, she's had such a phenomenal year this year. She was 7th at the World Championships, but, you know, it really kind of kicked off when she was 2nd at Chicago in 2021. And she just seems like everything is clicking for her. She trains in Boulder. They have a Boston Marathon course that she and Joe Bosshart, her coach, have had both her and Scott Fauble on. And she just has said, at altitude, I've been cranking out these long tempo runs. And, you know, for somebody to come in and say, I'm as fit as the American record, which is, you know, sub 2:19, you know that she's ready to run very fast here.
let's follow that up real quick. The American record's been broken. Adina had it for so long, Dina Castor, then it got broken twice in a few months.
Yeah, Kira D'Amato, and then it went to Emily Sisson, and now, you know, other Americans are wanting it.
So we have just heard, we will wait to get full confirmation that Eliud Kipchoge, who has dropped back, may have dropped out of the race. So we're keeping an eye on that. He's certainly out of the picture, which in itself is remarkable. And Evans Chebet has got the field right now under control. I don't know that he'll have it the rest of the way, but right now he's the guy that's controlling the 127th Boston Marathon.
And he looks very smooth in control. I know he's looking back a little bit to see for his teammate or to make a separation, look that gap, maybe get a little bit bigger. You know, if Gay, who's been behind the scene for a long time, made that initial move, and he's keeping contact with Evan Chebet. Doing a phenomenal job here, as well as Andabalam Belai. This is a great race for the man.
So after a brief respite, Kipchoge is back on the course, but yeah, and whatever he did, he does look a little fresher there, a little lighter on his feet, but I don't know that at this point he's around doing anything but accepting cheers. And well-deserved.
You know, it's not always going to go perfect your way, but the determination, the crowd in Boston is amazing. I have felt where I wanted to drop out as many times as with the USA cheer. They won't let you out. They're going to be able to see him come across the finish line.
The other thing in assessing Kipchoge, they're like, well, he could always have a bad day. And the hard part is the guy doesn't have bad days. He's had one. And now we're looking at perhaps two. One in London, 2018, and this one.
And the common denominator there is rain. A little bit of rain, how that is doing. But at the same time, you know, a bad day for him is a great day for somebody else. And I'm pretty sure they're going to look at him, trying to chase him down for those people behind him.
So Evans Chebet still in the lead. Benson Kipruto, his teammate, they've closed the gap on him some. If you're wondering, the last time we've had back-to-back winners here, Robert Kipkoech Chariot in 2006, 2007, and actually 2008. He won 3 in a row. And so he and his teammate now working together. And Gay still very much in it. John Courier and Mbile both have dropped back. I think Mbile, you could say, is safely out of the fight, but the two Adidas athletes and Gay very much still involved in what's happening. Now we go back to the women's, bringing the women's side of things.
Again, a huge pack here. I mean, you know, this is what's so nice when you do have a pack. You are working together. You're getting through these middle miles that are really tough, and there's not a lot of big moves, but guarantee there will be something that comes up real soon here. We know that. We know, we've seen it time and time again. And on that men's side, wow, I mean, I just loved watching Benson Kipruto go through that water stop. You know, you can see how, you know, if the athletes are still well within themselves, and Benson Kipruto looked the best grabbing his water. He had his coordination, and I really like seeing that in the later stages of the marathon.
Listen, last year we had 7 lead changes between 2 women in the last mile. Why not? What could be better? Let's have 13 of them come down Boyle Street on the women's side. And there's Kipchoge. And listen, not what we expected to see when we got out of bed. The greatest marathoner of all time and the most iconic marathon, just struggling now to get himself to the finish line. We're back with more from Boston after this.
We all define our finish lines differently, but realizing them always starts with good health. It enables us to move forward, one step at a time. It's how the fastest marathon runners in the world train to test their physical limits, then push us to live our fullest lives through the power of health.
I'm going to consider moving now. This has happened.
It's mind-boggling.
You know you're going to get caught, and now you don't have pants. Who looks silly now?
Sheriff's Office. How may I help you?
I'm calling to find out if I can have a wellness check.
A shot out of the dark. People were scared.
Things like that don't happen here.
Every turn of the story was always in the headlines.
Up to 100 volunteers turned out for today's search effort.
It's every parent's nightmare.
The incident has shaken up the entire area.
I want my granddaughter home.
I've never seen anything that would compare to anything like this.
How was this even able to happen? How did they let this happen?
Well, what kind of justice is that?
And that was just the beginning of the story.
I don't know how we're going to get through this.
I thought for sure I was dead. I just didn't know when.
You really never know who the monster is standing next to you.
Back here, the 127th Boston Marathon, ESPN2, WCVB. And I said it, and I'll repeat it. Eliud Kipchoge runs alone, but he runs alone in 7th. Man has lost 2 marathons since he took up the distance. 2018 in London, the last time he lost. Man with 2 gold medals, one of only 3 men ever to go back-to-back in the Olympic marathon. Set the world record twice, sub 2 hours. But the marathon can be a struggle for everybody. Whether you are a guy that's run it in sub 2 hours or you're a guy trying to break 4 hours, Meb.
Absolutely. That's what, and I do all respect to Kipchoge, because before the start of the race, he said, I respect the distance, I respect the course, I respect my competitors. We're humans, but he has done something phenomenal that no other human has done under 2 hours. But today is not his day, and you know, you can see him coming in. The cadence is not there, but he's determined to get to that finish line.
He came through at 35K, a minute and 13 seconds back, and his 5K split from 30 to 35 is 16:08, which is very un-Kipchoge-like. Listen, I think that guy, a lot of guys, Meb, a lot of guys would step off the course right here and say, it's not my day, I'm hurting, I got whatever. What keeps the guy going?
What keeps you going is your upbringing. A lot of it is your upbringing. You saw some other difficult times. For him, he didn't want to say, I'm going to go course record. He just wanted to be, we'll see how Monday goes. And I've been there before, where I struggled at the Olympic Games, or I struggled in New York City Marathon, or I struggled at Boston Marathon. But somehow, some way, it is you want to do it for your team. You know, your team carried you to get to the starting line. Unless you are hurt or you have fallen down, you want to get you want to be respected at getting to the finish line. And he's not looking. Some drop out because they want to do the next payday or whatnot. But for him to be able to get connected, he's a leader. He is an ambassador for the sport, and he wants to show that even on a tough day, I want to be able to get that across the finish line. He was determined to be there.
Josh Brigadier, we're bringing you in on the lead moto. You were as close to it as any of us. What'd you see when Kipchoge really that he was going to be out of this thing? Josh there, we'll try to get back to him on that. There's Kipchoge, and suddenly if you're Connor Mance, who has fallen off the pace, he was a minute 22 back at the 23-mile mark. He's 10 seconds back from Kipchoge. You don't think that'll drive a man to the line if you have a chance to catch him? That battle is as good for the American marathoner as it is up front here between Gabriel Gay and Evans Chebet. Let's go back and try Josh again.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying before, guys, I don't know if you could hear me. It looked to me like Kipchoge was trying to get a water bottle, and he didn't get it. Whether it was that he dropped it or what happened, I'm not exactly clear. But he didn't have it, and from that point on, right by Newton City Hall, as I was saying, almost coincidentally, in an area right occupy the Johnny Kelly statue. At the very base of some of these hills is where he had some heartbreak. This was an event that he came here to win, and it didn't go for him today. And as you've been saying, he bases everything on perseverance. That's who he is. But today, it wasn't his race. And as I'm looking ahead of me right now, this looks more like a two-man race with a bit of fade right now happening with Benson Kipruto. It looks like a two-man race here. I see Gabriel Gay looking very strong. And I should say that Evans Chebet, when he made that turn from Chestnut Hill Ave right over here to get onto this stretch of Beacon Street, and it became into Brookline, he looked great, and the cheering was loud. So two-man race with one a little bit further behind, but certainly not Eliud Kipchoge's day, guys.
Terrific report there from Josh Brogadier, WCVB sports reporter. It is a two-man race. Evans Chebet, Gabriel Gay, Benson Kipruto is there in the background. The women's race, we're at a water station. We'll take our break and come back because there's so much to sort out there. Back with more from the 127th Boston Marathon right after this.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
The incident has shaken up the entire area.
I've never seen anything that would compare to anything like this.
You really never know who the monster is standing next to you.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Love travel? So do some of our favorite celebrities.
I'm an expert traveler because I've traveled so much for work.
Welcome to In Transit, where we hunker down at an airport bar to chat everything from travel horror stories.
Maybe the most fainters we've ever had in a show was in Tel Aviv.
To top travel destinations.
I like Boston. It's a really good college town.
We'll even share some ideas on how to kill time the next time you're bored at the airport.
It's time for a game. You tell me whether they are allowed on airplanes.
Oh. I'm kind of good at this. I think it's because I've seen a lot of weird people do a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Plus, hot spots to hit in your favorite cities, so you'll have an Esquire-approved itinerary.
We source fish from all around the world.
Instead of being just a listening room, it's a hang.
The verb is an immersion into a musical experience unlike anything else.
So grab your luggage. Come meet me at the bar. You won't miss your flight.
#127th Boston Marathon, ESPN2, WCVB, front of a large pack, still in the fight for the women's title, but up front, the American Emma Bates. Carrie, Emma Bates, this deep into the race, still up front.
Oh, I'm fired up from her, all the way from Minnesota to Boulder. You know, she trained here in Boston for a little bit, and she told me, she said, I think Boston is the perfect course for me because she has strong quads, and she'll be able to handle the pounding, and she said, I'm going to be more aggressive than I ever have before. And we can see that she certainly is being very aggressive, leading all kinds of women that have won the World Championships. They've been third at the World Championships. They've won Olympic medals. Helen Obiri right behind her. I mean, this is a wonderful pack of women, and led right here by an American, Emma Bates.
Amanda McGrory, I apologize. We've gotten away from you for a little bit since the wheelchairs races have ended, but just give us the sense of what you see from your vantage point of this race on the women's side.
I've just been enjoying watching, to be completely honest. This is amazing. Emma looks so strong. She looks so comfortable, and she is right up there. I'm really excited to see what she could do. A podium finish here at her Boston debut would be huge.
Good success in Chicago. Her only podium was in Chicago when she ran 2:24.20, but went to Eugene 2:23.18. So certainly that is a huge accomplishment to finish in that race in 7th place. American women had a great showing in Eugene in that marathon, but it is a crowded field as they went through 30K, and essentially 10 women, 12 women on the same time of 1:41.49, as they're now about almost an hour and 47 minutes. Mev, the men approaching 2 hours, which means they've got about 2 miles left in this. And Benson Kipruto, who had dropped off, has kind of re-engaged here.
Yeah, they just went the mile 24, 4:47, and Benson, we thought he was out of it, but he's back in the game with Chebet and Gay. This is great racing with the teammates, been back on it again. And I talked to Gay this week, and he said his dream is to win the Boston Marathon, has been his dream, and he's in there right now for podium, but we'll see how it unfolds the last couple miles.
So we have 3 for the win at this point. Looks like the podium set. We just got to juggle out the order. Go back to look at Eliud Kipchoge and Connor Mantz, who are off the pace but engaged. And this is what Josh was talking about. He went to get the water bottle and airball. Came up empty. So Mev, my question to you is, it's one water bottle. Is it really missing one can throw us out of whack that much?
It won't throw you out of the whack one, but he might have missed other ones that we're not aware of. But at the same time, you know, it might be the crucial one when he needs it to be able to get him to the next one. But at the same time, this is you know, unfortunate it happens. It happens at the Olympic Games when Ryan Howell and myself were running, and I grabbed his and gave it to him, but I missed mine. So we try to share with others.
So he is the master of mental training and visualization, right? But when things are not going well, Meb, in a race physically and mentally, like how does the GOAT of the mind and running handle it mentally?
To be the GOAT or to be the defending champion when things are not going your way, it is hard because you were thinking of one thing, to defend or to win. And when that doesn't happen, mentally you're defeated and you're not even getting second place or third place. It just goes the other way around. So it is hard, but I'm so proud of him for him to hang in there, to be able to get to the finish line as the best as he is for today.
He is very much a guy who says the mind controls the body.
Yeah.
And when you go, you do also wonder if he didn't go out and run on the course. I know he visualized, but he didn't go out and see any of that. And then, listen, the guy has just been busy since he got here, which can be difficult. So that's Kipchoge on the right. Excuse me.
You know what I think? You said it right there. The 3 men that were watching on the left, they know this course. And even though Kipchoge did go out there and he did drive the course, that is a crucial factor that the 3 guys leading this race right now have all run all 26.2 miles on it.
Absolutely, and you know, 26.2 miles is 26.2 miles, but when you come to Boston, it's different because the 4:37 back-to-back early pace on is crucial and important for the later on. So like I said earlier, this will make you or break you, those paces. If you can be patient, you will pay off big time. If not, but those legs of Benson and Evan Chebet and Gay, legs are strong as they go mile 25, and look like now the teammates are going to the finish line strong and having a gap on Gay, which is, you know, a big loss for Gay here.
They conspired to drop Kipchoge. Now they're trying to conspire to drop Gabriel Gay as they get to Kenmore Square. And we talk to Ed and Maria. Another really great set of teammates, guys.
We feel the same way about you guys. You just saw that mile 25 right there. Kenmore Square is in their grips.
It's really the final stretch of this grueling race. You come into a square, it's where many roads feed into and then obviously pull out of. And you've had the iconic Sipco sign. See it right there on the left. You've had it there for a while. Finally, you're in the square where it is.
Fenway Park on the right.
And by the way, the Red Sox game has been delayed.
Yes.
So it doesn't start till 12:05. So the Red Sox haven't even started playing the Angels yet, but they will within the half hour in Fenway Park. So now for the lead, every runner, it's not only through Kenmore Square, it's up to Commonwealth Avenue, take that right on Hereford, and then the left on Boylston, and dash to the finish. You can sense, smell, and feel the finish line, guys.
This is going to be a race, guys.
It is certainly a race with these guys and the teammates, Evans Chebet, Benson Kipruto. And Kipruto's the guy that dropped off for a little while, but They are going to fight the whole way. By the way, this race is older than Fenway Park. So it's nice that the Red Sox are playing. But this is the race that we're talking about right now, the Red Sox. Kerry just said the baseball players are wimps.
I did not.
Because they won't get out there and play in the rain. No, you're completely true.
Okay,
it's completely true. Listen, they get a calf strain. They're out for 20 days.
Yeah. You know what, though? I have to say, Emma Bates, she just had a big crowd that was cheering her name. You could see the smile on her face. But now I kind of want her to settle in. You know, and move back in. She looks like she's moving out, and the pack has got a little distance on the side, and it just worries me a little bit.
Mev, we're getting separation here on the men's side.
We are getting a separation here. Evan Chebet is comfortable, strong strides. But now the question becomes who's going to get for second place. As you can see, Benson has been working with his teammate, and Gay is catching up on him now. So it's going to be an interesting finish, but it's not over yet. And now I think you can get a little bit of energy from the crowd to get you through, and it's very exciting to be able to just see a close finish out for the men, and the women are running phenomenal as well.
Listen, Evans is in the lead. I don't know right now that that's entirely safe. They go 4:56 for mile 25, and as they get down this downhill, this is where they get back to about a mile left in this thing. There you go, 25.2. So they've got 5,280 feet to go to determine the champ of the 127th Boston Marathon. Excuse me, 1K. Thank you, Kerry.
1K to go. This is always that epic part of the race where we see lots of things changing. But right now, Evans looks like he's in great position. Evans Chebet, that is. But those guys behind him are coming strong.
He got this title. I think, you know, this is where you can breathe a little bit. He's over the hill, the little overpass. And as he makes a right on Herford, you know, he's going to sprint. It's bringing me back to my toes now, you know.
Yeah,
I've been there before, and he's going to make the gap and try to get bigger and enjoy Boylston as he make a left and then come to the finish line. And, you know, he's going to celebrate a little early. He's going to get the crowd fired up.
I think he has finally managed to take care of the field for
it's so loud here,
Evans Chebet. The defending champ won here 2:06.51. Was in that miserable weather of 2018 and put up a DNF. And so the weather has not been ideal here for him today, but he has stuck it out, and it appears that he has finally shaken the last of the competitors. That would be his teammate, Benson Kipruto, who's behind him, and a great run by the man from Tanzania, Gabriel Gay, who really made the race. He's the guy who decided to start this thing. We're done jogging, and now we're going to see who's going to win. He's the guy that made the race.
He kind of made that jump right when Kipchoge started to lose his rhythm there, and that's when Gabriel Gay went for it. He said he wanted to place higher than he did last year with that 4th place, but man, these three have really powered out those last few miles.
What a beautiful sight on the 10 years of reflection, and people are thinking really awesome of this, and the crowd is out, the cheers on, and soak it all in for first place, but for second and third, it's a race.
Yeah, they look close together there. I don't believe if we did them from the side that they'd have the same thing. Evans Chebet, and at this point, I mean, you're exerting yourself. He's able to look around a little bit, but I think he can also soak this in. Take a little bit of it. Evans Chebet going to be a back-to-back champion.
You know, Claudio Berardelli, their coach, has done a phenomenal job to get them here. And, you know, there's always, we might run the races, but the support is deep. And I'm pretty sure Lilian Chepkamay, his wife, is going to be very content about this win. You know, we run the race, but the support is deep, so it's awesome.
Oh, what a great shot looking back down Boylston Street. Yep, good. Make one more check of the watch. He's going to turn that off as well. Eliud Kipchoge is the greatest of all time, with the greatest marathon runner in the world today. On April 17th of 2023 is going to be Evans Chebet, the upset winner and champion of the 127th Boston Marathon. You just watched history. And Gabriel Gay is going to outsprint Benson Kipruto for second for Tanzania. You see the flags flying, and then the 2021 champ comes through. The podium, Chebet, Gay, and Kipruto. And we wait, shockingly, for Eliud Kipchoge to eventually finish.
What a finish, though, for second and third, too. I mean, Chebet had that great final surge to really open it up. But to see Gay and Kipruto be that close, too, that was awesome.
And just to tell you where they were at, when you go through their 5K just before this, the last 5K that's measured through 35 through 40, Chebet, Gay, Kipruto go 14:54. Kipchoge went 16:23. Albert Carrere 15:44. That's where they lost him. Connor Mantz goes 16:27. John Carrere, who you may recall was in the red singlet, he goes 17:16. And when it finally goes, Meb, right, it's hard when you finally know that you're no longer in that chase. It goes downhill quickly.
It does, and it is very, you know, Horse who does a very, you know, 1:02.20 and coming back 1:03.38. You know, it's a somewhat great pace, but the early miles, the downhills, the course in itself takes a lot of toll on your body. But what a great race for the man, and as Kipchoge is coming in close to it, he's the people's champion as well. He's going to be very loud here soon too.
He is not going to get the laurel wreath, but he will, as the kids say, he's going to get his flowers. By the way, when you're Kipchoge and you're running the marathon, you can ignore all the red lights. You just go. You have free reign. Just go. You can go. Albert Carrere, he'll come in fourth. Former New York City Marathon champion, always gives a great effort as he comes through right around 2:08. Behind him, the Moroccan Talbi. Been a really nice period of distance running with the Moroccans. Soufiane El Bakkaya, who's won the steeplechase, and at this point, not exactly where he wanted, but Boylston Street in 6th place belongs to Eliud Kipchoge.
You know, you learn something from every single race, and we are watching a man that has done so well, but he is human.
He is human. He's done under 2 hours for himself, for his country, for the sport. But the respect that he's going to gain from the crowd and for the people of Boston, this is the People's Olympics, is going to give him a lot of respect and well-deserved ovation.
So Eliud Kipchoge, over the last few meters of his time in Boston, his first appearance in the States in a decade, and the crowd is deafening for Eliud Kipchoge. They came to see him. And Scott Fauble comes late. Scott Fauble knows how to run this race. He's been sitting back, and suddenly it's Scott Fauble. It's going to come through. Is he 7th again? That's his 3rd time?
Time in a row.
Sounds like me.
Scott Fauble comes through 2:09.44.
He is the 3rd time in a row, that was his 3rd time again for being first American.
Yep, and he eventually caught, and you have to think that Connor Mantz, those first early miles, Mep, were so fast. And Connor Mantz, listen, I feel, congratulations on feeling froggy and running up there, but I don't think there's any doubt those first 10 miles really affected Connor Mantz.
You know, the first early pace on, we know they were going on the first 3 miles or 4 miles of 4:37. 2:01 pace on this course is it's a tough, and the hills are waiting, and the body will take its toll. But at the same time, you know, hopefully he's finished, and as we see CJ Albertson coming in, you know, very respectable, and Connor been first time here. He doesn't know the course, so it's you know, he has to learn from going forward.
Just want to circle back to Zuhair Talabi, who came through in 5th place. That's huge, is because in this race that qualifies him for the Olympics. We don't have to worry about the time. He's on his way to Paris in 2024 for that marathon that's coming up. Now into the women, mile 22. So they're in Commonwealth Ave, about to get to Cleveland Circle, and they're engaged, and Emma Bates is there, and she is strong.
Wow, they just went through mile 22 at 5:08 pace. She is pushing, and you know, she has a woman, Amane Bariso, that is about 7 minutes faster than her on paper, and she is not afraid to lead. Look at this pack. It is starting to break up a little bit, but still, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 women in this pack.
Well, as Kenny Mayne would tell you, races are not run on paper. They're run inside your TV set. And we're glad to have you watching the Boston Marathon here on ESPN and WCVB TV. Emma Bates, this would be a fantastic story for her. But also, I would say this, all those women in front look like they have a lot of run in them still, right? I don't know that anybody appears to be really struggling in this one.
No, you know, Lona Salpeter, she wanted to make her move between 19 and 21, and she hasn't been able to really make that big move.
That is the last race on the course, the last one still to be decided. The most recent one was the men's champ that came through. It is not Eliud Kipchoge. It's the guy who won last year. How simple could that be? Who's going to win? I don't know. Let's go with the guy who won last year, Evans Chebet. And he is with our Sage Steele. Sage just interviews champions. What a good job.
I mean, it's the best job in the world, that's for sure. Evan Chebet, you did it again. The defending champion is so difficult to come back and win again when the target's on your back a little bit. What was the key today, despite very difficult conditions here in Boston?
Today I'm happy because last year I ran, yeah, but last year is not rain. But this year, a lot of rain. So I'm happy because I know this course very well. Because I'm happy because I win last year and this year. So maybe next year I'll come back again. Maybe
repeat.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about your training partner, Benson Caputo, and you guys were right there at the end. How do you feed off of each other when it's the most important time here at the end of a race?
You know, coach and manager, you told me go Boston with Benson because I will train with Benson. I'll stay in camp. So I know training is good. So I told Benson in like in 41. I told Benson, let's go. So I'm happy because I see my friend Benson. So I'm happy because Morad.
You're doing this together. You won Boston 2022, New York City 2022, and now Boston 2023. How have you grown as a runner in the last year?
Yeah, last year I ran 2:06, but this year I ran 2:05. So I'm happy.
You're doing something right. Congratulations, Evans, on repeating here in Boston as champion once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, yeah, not a bad job, John, just interviewing champions.
Yeah, and just it's as simple as I ran 2:06, and then this year I ran 2:05, so I feel even better about myself. What a great effort by Evans Chebet, and he can say, yeah, I beat Eliud Kipchoge as a champion. Women's race now. Bates, Salpeter up there, Hellen Obiri on your right.
The woman I'm watching, John, Ababel Yeshana, she is in that orange, kind of like the color of my shirt today, orangey yellow shirt behind Emma Bates. That's the woman that last year came down the final stretch here and went back and forth with Paris Jepchirchir from last year. And she said that left a sour taste in her mouth. She did not want to come back here and be in that position. So what is she going to do? Will she wait, or will she try to make a move on one of these last turns?
Well, in this case, she knows what she wants to do. That's for sure. She's been on the wrong side of it. Paris Jepchirchir, who did not return this year, she'll run in the London Marathon 6 days from now. That's Sunday the 23rd is when that great race is. And they are coming down Hellen Obiri, who I think also has a little disappointment from how she debuted in New York. I think many people thought in her first try at the distance she would win in New York City. She did not. That was Sharon Ledecky, the former Kansas athlete who came through. Wanted to be in this race, had to scratch out for her health reasons. Want to make sure she was in proper condition. Didn't feel like it, so she's out. But Emma Bates, like you hear a lot of people say, my build-up's been great, I'm ready, and here it is to go. And it's like, okay, I got to see it.
Yeah,
look, I see it.
We're seeing it for sure. And you know, speaking of Hellen Obiri, right to her right, also trains in Boulder. The difference between New York last fall, she had spent time here all by herself, her family back home, her daughter, her husband. This year, for the first time, she's here. And there goes Ababel Yeshana just fell. She got back up, but that's huge. Tripped on Hellen Obiri, and that is huge. We'll see if she can recover, but
Matt, that's what you talked about. There's room on the road.
There's room on
clustered.
You know, John, there's a room on the road, but this is where the body is tired, is fatigued, the hills are hard, and you kind of get delusional a little bit, but it is a misstep there. So as we saw,
yep, we'll look at this one more time, and she just got clipped, yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's a high kick here, but Obiri, yes, a 1,500-meter runner and a miler, and just a misstep here happened, but I'm glad she got back, but it's going to be very crucial to be able to get back. Don't waste too much energy catching up right away, but she did, so she's still in the race, but mentally, the crowd's gonna be cheering for her because of what happened.
Jocelyn Jepkosgei, the one just falling off the pack there, won New York City, and also has the fastest half marathon PB of the year here coming in, 64 minutes. She's the one falling back. But as I was saying, Hellen Obiri in a different position than she was last fall. Her family is now here in the States with her, and having that emotional boost of having your family now right here, Dathan says that's been crucial.
Yep, she's recently switched to the On Athletic team, so she's training in Colorado with great marathoner Dathan Ritzenheisen. Last mile comes through in 5:17.
I mean, I just get so worked up when things like this happen, and that's the whole excitement of the sport. But one thing that's really nice is that, you know, Yeshina is still in this race.
She's still in the race. You have 5 people here. As a marathoner, if you could, you would be able to get away from people. You don't want to come to the last mile or the last 600 meter, but the women's is very strong. They know each other very well, their credentials. It's going to be we are up for an interesting finish here.
It's going to be a great finish, and you mentioned Jepkosgei falling off a little bit. Hugely important for Emma Bates to stay in that top 5, because as difficult as the Olympic qualifying standards are to make it on time, if she can be in the top 5 in a platinum race, which is Boston, which is New York, which is Berlin, which is London, that means, provided she does well at the trials, that she's able to qualify, make her qualifying time for the Paris Olympics. And I don't know that you can discount that as something that's hugely important as one layer down from I would like to win the Boston Marathon.
Well, let's just say there's not a lot of time between now and next summer to get those standards. So that is a great thing to have going into next year. The Olympic trials will be in Orlando next February, and you can bet that if Emma Bates gets in this top 5, she will be really happy with that.
And by the way, the women's marathon will be the culminating event at the Paris. Usually it's the men this year, in 2024, in the summer 2024 in Paris. It will be the women's marathon. And just in case you have your day planner or want to set in your watch, we're 482 days
good for you.
until the Paris Olympics marathon for the women. 41 for the men, 42 for the women. Listen, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, well, listen, this is what we need to have happen right now. These people have to remember that they are in the likes of one of the best track stars we've ever seen with Hellen Obiri. And if you want to beat her, you got to put some moves on right now.
Like if you want to do simple math, they cross through a mile 23, which is basically you have a 5K left.
Yeah.
You want to go mess with the world champ in the 5K in 2017 and 2019? That's Hellen Obiri.
She's run 14:18 for the 5K. She's run 3:57 for the 1500. And get this, she's run 2 flat for 800. That's pretty speedy.
She comes off a win in the New York City half marathon last month. She ran 67:21 there. So Emma Bates just a few strides back. Hadn't lost touch yet, but just a few strides back. But certainly now she's in a position where she is in a fight. And Yeshina has, despite the fall, managed to get in there, and she's right back there on Obiri's heels again. Because the fall was not on Obiri, right? Like she clipped her, but she was just running in front. There was no malice there. The other one followed too close. 5:05 for the 24th mile. 5:05.
We knew who fell on the course. Abebe Yesenes just checked on her arm, be able to see kind of like the mental is there. She just watched at her arm, but she's in it. And as you know, the Kenyan-Ethiopian rivalry is big Here, the Ethiopians usually don't typically lead the race and wait for the kick, but Obiri, with her credential of the shorter distance, is going to be interesting.
Helen Obiri, Kenya. Lona Salpeter, Israel. Amani Burso, Ethiopia. Yeshina, Ethiopia. Emma Bates, the United States. Those are your 5 that are still very much in this race with less than 2 miles to go.
Lona Salpeter, second in the 2022 NYC Marathon. She was 3rd at the European Championships, 3rd at the World Championships. She wants that win, but here comes Amani Buriso, the 2:14 gal. Is she trying to take that kick out of Helen Obiri? This is where she needs to move.
Amanda McGrory, 5 for the win. Who do you like?
You know, I am just loving watching this. I love a pack race. I love being in a pack race. I can't wait to watch the sprint finish here at the end. They all look super, super strong. I don't know.
So Emma Bates just a few strides back. She's fighting now to get with that, but also to try and protect that 5th place position.
Helen Obiri going to those arms that are her signature move. Her daughter is here watching her. Her husband is here. She doesn't get to watch mom race very often, but you know she loves to. And she does definitely give her the beef when she doesn't win.
Yes.
Tanya will say, Mom, what's going on?
Yeah, she was like that way in Eugene. She was the silver medalist in the 10,000 meters, and her daughter said, Mommy, why'd you let that lady beat you? Like, are you kidding? I'm better than everybody but one person in the world, and now you're going to pick on me for that?
Last minute decision to come to Boston Marathon, Helen Obiri. You know, I was talking to her a couple days ago. Dathan Rittenheim, her coach, has to convince her to do the Boston Marathon because she wanted to go somewhere fast. But, you know, she's ready, and she ran the course record at the New York City Marathon, like he said earlier, 1:07.21 course record. And this is very similar to what's going to happen at the 2024 Olympic Games heli course. She's glad she's here and be able to compete against the best in the world.
She's also a world cross-country champion from 2019. But watch this woman that just went down, Yeshina. Again, reminder, last year she finished by 4 seconds in that 2nd position. She does not want that to happen again. And she's been the quiet kind of one lurking. She hasn't really touched the lead yet. Is she waiting till she makes that left-hand turn? I kind of think so.
Well, listen, let's just give her credit for gathering herself after that fall and being able to kind of, and I'm sure there was a jolt of adrenaline there that went through your body. And as Mev said there, the key is to, you know, kind of fight yourself and your patience that you don't want to just get up and scramble back into this thing. But she seems to have really controlled herself, her pace, and her effort level to be here as we get down to the final mile.
Salpeter's very good on the track as well. She is a 30-minute 10K runner. She ran fit. She's ready and she's proven it. She's been in the lead most of this race.
Yes, the who of marathon or women's is here. It's going to be an exciting finish as Amanda Buriso, as Helen Obiri, and Abebel Yesenish, and also
Salpeter.
Yeah, Salpeter has the records also. She wants that big win. So it's going to be an exciting finish for all of us, but nervous for them.
She's the only one that looks like she took a drink. The other ones look like they've just bypassed the last drink station and are ready to go. Emma Bates is fading here from that top 4. But still, what an outstanding performance. And again, can't stress enough how important it would be for her to hold on to 5th place in this race.
Emma Bates has been in great condition. I should talk to, but now the performance has shown that. And I think another American great achievement here to hopefully hold on to 5th place.
You see the time, 20:15:46. And there you see the final 4 combatants. Obiri, Salpeter, Buriso, Yeshina. And every time Yeshina gets close now, Obiri is there to challenge. And a really, really quick 16:08 from 35 kilometers to 40K.
So Hellen Obiri has been in Kenya training up until right before the NYC half. The NYC half is a hilly course. It was cold. 15 degrees is what it felt like at the start. And she powered her way through, looked so strong there just a month ago. She's looking around a little bit. She knows they're right on her shoulder, but she said she is ready for this race. And you know, Dathan, they didn't enter this race until about, 2 weeks ago. And Dathan said all he needed to tell her was to be patient. She's got such a drive, such a lion in her to be great at every distance that she runs. And her patience has paid off today. She's having a great run.
I mean, you look on the screen right from the perspective of Emma Bates, and you can see that they've gotten away from her here. That looks, I imagine from that angle, right, that looks like forever behind. But up front, Obiri now and Bereso. They've taken Salpeter out of the race, and Yeshina maybe has fallen off.
Amane Bariso, she had a phenomenal year this year. She ran 5:13 for that 25th mile here, but Amane Bariso, she knows how to be down in those low 5-minute ranges. She's ranked 3rd in the world in 2022. She's had some injuries, but this last year she has really cranked it out, and she took a ton off her PB, running 2:14.58 in Valencia in 2:22.
And that was not only the national record, the 3rd fastest woman all time at that distance. So she was 12th in 2022, so certainly improving hers. And then Hellen Obiri, who's making her Boston debut in just her 2nd marathon. And Meb, I have to admit, there's got to be a huge learning jump just from your first marathon to your 2nd one, from the unknown to some known.
Absolutely, it's a big learning curve. I said I got my PhD on my first marathon because I made a lot of mistakes. And for Obiri doing so well last year at the New York City Marathon, also this course, she's coached by Dathan Ritzenheim, who's a great cross-country runner, great marathoner. They're going to put it together, and obviously Bariso also knows this, and she has run the time, but look like the move has been made here. And you can see the 1,500 meter of her arm swings are epic here, and hey, about 800 meters to go or 700 meters to go from here is going to be a great finish.
Listen, I may not be any good, but my coach told me you work those arms on the uphill.
Yes, you do.
The legs are dying, but if you can work those arms, those little percentages that you can pick up there are a huge factor.
And you could see that it was like she didn't change her form too much. It just became powerful. And with less than 800 meters to go now, this is what she loves, the right on Hereford. And she has been dreaming about this. You can believe that.
Obiri, this is amazing. The crowd is what it is. She can't even herself breathe on here now. This is coming one ear, going the other ear because it's so loud. It's 10 deep here. It's amazing, but still, I think she's dug deep, and when she hold on, Azimemik left on Bolson. Look at that crowd. Amazing.
Man, I bet these are times when you're really happy your 800 PR is 2 minutes flat. Or Hellen Obiri.
Well, now there's that final famous left-hand turn.
600 to go, 600 meters to go when you make that turn.
Look at her go. The knees are coming up. The arms are going back.
Hellen Obiri, the last woman entered into the elite field, is going to be the first woman to cross from the elite field.
In only her 2nd marathon, John. We have seen her time and time again at different Olympic Games, World Championships. We have not seen her on the streets very often, but she has definitely, in her young career of a marathoner, been pretty spectacular.
Aside from the marathon, it's a larger side. There's not a more decorated woman in the field than Hellen Obiri for her track credentials, and everything in her track career points to this moment and says this is the success you would expect her to have, which is why I think people were a little surprised in New York when she only, he just used air quotes, finished 6th.
One thing that I love, Dathan Ritzenheim, I'm sure, is thinking, what distance is this woman going to do at the next Olympic Games? And now they have another big kind of carrot hanging there that says, hey, I can handle 26.2. So maybe that's what she's going to move up to for the Olympic Games.
You know, indoor world champion, cross country world champion. the world champion, and now we're gonna see she is gonna be the Boston Marathon champion. As you can see, the divider telling her she got to go to the champion's
Happiness
lane.
is being on the left-hand side of the street when it comes for her.
Amazing.
It is the left on Boylston, and then they go, you just run straight into history from there. Hellen Obiri gonna win the 127th Boston Marathon, and I think her daughter Tanya is down here to greet her. Mama won.
Wow. Look at that.
Bariso comes across second. Lona Salpeter. Yeshina, second a year ago, fourth this time. Listen, that was a race the whole way, and just look at the effort. Emma Bates comes across fifth atop American. Also now the fourth U.S. woman who has a qualifier for the Paris Games. So the Olympic trials for the U.S. in Orlando will be fantastic. Carrie has a grin almost as big as the family there.
Oh, I can't hardly handle it. I saw Tanya in New York City, and I said, are you a runner? And she said, no. That was her answer, no. But her mama sure is.
These are strong, strong women.
And you got to give it up to Emma Bates. I mean, she put it out there for the world to hear that she knew she was in the best shape of her life. That's a pretty big statement, and she ran that way today. Great race.
Hellen Obiri, a world marathon major winner, to go with all those global championship medals in track and field. She's a national record holder in Kenya in a mile, 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters, the 5K.
Nice.
And it just came from an innocuous email. Hey, Sharon Ledecky won't be in the field. We're adding Hellen Obiri. What a great late ad. There's your Boston champ and her family.
Kenmore Square is as alive now as it's ever been, with an authentic mix of tradition and innovation blending into each other to form the secret sauce that makes our city special. This neighborhood, a destination, has always been where the energy of youth and passions of people drive achievement and success. You can always count on us to show you the way home.
You're invited to Get Local. Very local.
This is my town.
The only streaming channel that brings you closer than ever to your hometown.
I'm a tourist in my own city.
With original series and specials, loaded with local flavor.
Let's get cooking.
Ta-da! Adventure.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Keep going, keep going. And discoveries.
Welcome to my studio.
You never know what you'll find right outside your door.
It's the best place in the world.
Plus, all the news you need from the hometown team you trust. Available anytime you want.
History made.
It's your channel, so watch it your way.
Really?
Live or on demand. At home or on the go. All day, all night, all free. It's that easy to stay very connected to your community and beyond with Very Local. Download the free Very Local app now.
127th Boston Marathon on ESPN and WCVB. John Anderson, Gary Tullison, Ben Keflezighi, Amanda McGrory. I'm going through some sadness right now. Like, it's over. Like, all this build-up, like, oh my gosh. Like, I know there's good stuff to come, but the race is done now for the elites. The other 30,000 people are out on the course. God bless them. We have waves and waves and waves, and I can't wait to see some of them. I have friends running for them. see. Well, I just am not going to see him on the top 10 board. As we run through all the races and all the top 10s, we saw Marcel Hoog. There we see Susanna Scaroni. Amanda, a breakthrough win for her. I should say her breakthrough just continues. 5-minute win.
Excited about Susanna Scaroni's win. Huge, huge victory.